Hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name is Brian. If you happen to be new around here, this is Ginger Prime, and I'm going to be stepping back into Destiny after basically a full year away from this game. Now, my feeds have been just overrun with Destiny, Doom, and Gloomers out there, and so I have a poll actually in chat right now talking about what is the current state of Destiny. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Just like some of you have already weighed in. LM says, did Ginger Prime already pay the 300 plus admission fee for all the content? Dude, I think I've paid far more than that amount of money with my Destiny career. But ever since they really introduced a lot of the different FOMO mechanics, and it's not that you can't have a battle pass, but we've seen companies already implement that system where it doesn't expire. You can keep it. And in fact, that actually has me go play those games way more, because when this FOMO kicks in, I've got a busy life. I have a job. I've got a family, and I don't need a game to artificially make it fun or addictive. And that's really what FOMO does. And so there is a fast, like almost your body's immune system defense against that kind of content that they put in the game. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of people have experienced who have been either making their career covering Destiny 2 or overall just enjoying the game in and of itself. But tonight, it's community game night. You guys are all welcome to join in and voice chat if you want. It's open mics, and all you got to do if you're not a part of the Discord is check the top link in the description. That will get you to the Discord. That will get you all the extra content that I make. And I just launched a new channel, Ginger Prime Clips. And if you guys want to go check that out, it has highlights and things like from here. So the cool moments from this stream, if they happen to have, we have some cool moments, we'll see. Those would be what is featured over there on that channel. So hopefully you check it out. Also, as members roll in, every 25 supporters, I gift out 5 memberships to the community. I've got a lot of exclusive content. We have Members Monday here at the channel where I have a video for everybody. And then I also produce other content for the members themselves as a thank you for support. After this stream, we will raid into a members only stream where I'm working on my own video game. And that's a part of the journey that I'm sharing with those supporters of the channel, because I'm using the money, or some at least portion of the money that I make off of being a content creator, to try and fund my video game, which we are currently in pre-production. And I've partnered with a development studio who's released a couple of really good games so far. So I think I'm in good hands. It's going to obviously be a risk. I'm putting my money on the line, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Anyway, that's the preamble. If you guys are still here, if you're especially watching this as a VOD, hit that like button. Thank you so much for being here. Sound off in the comments with VOD Squad. And if you're here, I guess you could sound off with Live Squad, but you can always just keep chatting as it is. But that's it. Let's bring in the Discord and welcome in the Discord. I got pushed into this mission. That's one of the things that Destiny does more often than not. So you'll have to forgive me. What is my loadout right now anyway? Risk Walker. Ooh, centrifuge and auto rifle. Oh, I should probably check.
Where are you streaming?
I'm on YouTube, on Twitch, and on Facebook, and on X.
Soon to be coming to your refrigerator.
Soon to be coming to your refrigerator. Unclaimed challenges. Interesting. All right. Season of the Deep. Are they just letting me? I didn't do any
Spicy
Season of the
cold.
Deep. Claim reward. Okay. Interesting. I guess that was maybe some kind of, who knows? I don't know what that was. All right.
They do have fishing in Destiny now too, Brian.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Which is funny because that's all that was. It was just giving you a thing because it thinks you fished once. Good job. You fished.
Thank you.
Oh, we just did the prophecy.
It's an interesting rifle.
Oh, Prophecy's fun.
Yeah, take us back to the helm.
The long part with the big trail in space.
There we go. I have an elite series, so I was like, I've got multiple profiles, and I have one just for Destiny, so I can jump and crouch and slide with the back paddles.
That's cool.
Whoa!
You just barely got me in damage there, Dion.
By 30%. It's all good.
Overcharged the capacitor.
I blame it all on the rocket launcher. I didn't even get to use it properly either. That must be a very big damage modifier on that boss fight or something, because we did not fire our guns enough for that much damage.
Yeah.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
What's happening? Happy Monday. Happy Monday.
Who did?
I think it's Tuesday for me now, to be honest. I think it's 1 a.m. here.
You people in the future.
Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.
Yeah. I've really been ruining my sleep schedule.
Schedule?
It's
Yeah.
Dracula? Schedule?
At the start, I'm already ginger and white enough, so it's like the amount of people have called me a vampire over the years has been ridiculous. So how you guys doing?
Doing good, sir, doing good.
Brian, now that we turn request in here.
Yeah, if you want, jump on in.
Ooh, yeah, man.
So you enjoying Destiny?
I just booted it back up after having a full year off. So, dude, I tell you, there's
Yeah.
nothing better than fire. Like, the game just gets the shooting so right. And that's one of the things that's like, yeah, man, like, guys, you know how to play a game a healthy way is just play a little bit of the game, take a break, play another game.
Yeah.
You know, like, that is literally and then I think content creators ruined it. It's like, oh man, but if I
Yeah.
quit the game, how do I eat? It's like, wow, get a job, buddy.
To be fair, it's the Destiny journey's on. I have to admit, I left in Lightfall.
Dude, Lightfall
I'm-
sucked so hard. I was like, I do not like
The story
this.
did.
Yeah. That's not me. I was just like, I don't care about any of this. And then I was just like, all right, man. This is like, all right, cool. Oh, it
It's
didn't really
actually weird,
conclude anything.
'cause up until Lightfall, I was very hopeful.
Yeah.
Like, that's the funny. For me, it was because I've been playing since Destiny 1, day one, and
Yeah, same
I
here.
had seen the creep, like, you know, that ever-present creep by Bungie, slowly adding bits here and there. And I remember at the start when they were like, we're adding monetization, because we couldn't keep up the content cadence. And they asked Activision to do it, and then slowly, and then Destiny 1 was actually really good. I really enjoyed Destiny 1.
Oh, dude, yeah.
And then I was like, all right, Wrath of the Machine's fantastic. Let's get Destiny 2, boys. And then I was at university at the time, and I was saying to my mate, oh, I can't wait for Destiny 2. They're going to do, you know, they're not going to repeat the same mistakes of the past. And then it turns out it was made by a completely separate team that never played Destiny 1, and you had things like double primaries, and which I actually didn't
Wait a
mind,
minute.
but it caused
Wait,
a lot
wait,
of
wait.
problems.
back up a second. Destiny 2 is made by a completely different dev team
Yeah.
than Destiny 1.
Yeah,
I believe so, because I think they probably had some turnover.
That's a bit.
that's no, it was
no,
made.
in terms of like, they never played Destiny 1. They had nothing. They had no.
So what
reference-
happened
reference
was
point.
there was a
Is the guy responsible for Taken King? Yes.
Yes.
So up until well after Forsaken, Destiny 2 was at least led by a guy who came in partially through D1. Luke Smith
Okay.
did not work on D1 until he basically swooped in and saved Taken King. They got
Gotcha.
big
It's-
promotions,
it's why
and now he's
so many
involved for like 5 years.
it's why so many of the quality of life updates that were in Destiny 1 were not in Destiny 2, and why things like shaders were worse.
Oh
And
man,
things like this, because they were working from a completely different philosophy standpoint. They hadn't had any of the lessons learned over those 3 years. But by the time you got to Wrath of the Machine, Destiny 1 was in a really good spot. And then
no,
you
I
kind of
love
lost.
Destiny 1, dude, and it was like, and I'm actually okay if they decide to do a Destiny 3 now.
I am. I think.
But I think like we're talking like engine would help out dramatically, because I think when you look at like what they've brought in, it's like like the game, isn't that they during the lifespan of Destiny 2, they've taken a lot of different like things they've embraced. Like, hey, we're gonna now actually admit that we're an MMO, and so I think from like, but an MMO in my mind, like you need trade, you need crafting and gathering, you need a reason to be farming these things. And this is the case in point of like a lot. I know there are people who do not like player trade. I don't know why I'm using that on him, but I did it anyway. They don't like player trade because it's like, oh yeah, there's RMT, and it's like, yeah, that's how you fight RMT. You just don't allow people to trade anything. But there's a cost to that. There's a cost to saying, okay, well, because the economics can help drive incentive rather than devs trying to artificially drive incentive.
I think the player trade aspect's interesting because I think it has less to do with RMT and more to the fact that Destiny's actually a looter.
Yeah.
Because when Last Epoch was being developed, I think they said they did market
Such a good
research
game. Such a good game.
it.
But continue.
and 50% of the community wanted it just to be a loot grind, and the other 50% wanted it to have an economy.
Yeah.
And that's when they developed I think it's their clan system, like one where you have a bazaar and the other one where it just ups the loot drop rates so you can meet the game where you are. But in aspects to the actual RMT issue, it's just a curse on me. It's a curse on what is effectively, I think, from my perspective, MMOs don't really exist anymore. Because every game has kind of become an MMO almost, because it's got massive multiplayer online functionality in a sense.
Games have definitely adopted a lot of that. There is, like, that's where I personally look at MMOs as sandbox MMOs.
Yeah.
So because that is where you get that kind of like, yeah, this is another world that you can go and choose to be a part of. And if you're wanting a Diablo or if you're wanting a dungeon running simulator, like those games exist. A sandbox MMO is driven off of the players, but we haven't seen both one that is supported enough by players. And so the question is that with the increasing cost of technology, development, etc., can sandbox MMOs actually survive? And I do think that there's going to be kind of a come to realization moment where people who want MMOs are like, all right, if I want to support, these games, then I need to be a part of it.
Yeah.
But we also now all we're not in college anymore. We have jobs and lives. And so I think there's going to have to be some levels of compromise. And some people are just unwilling to compromise on certain things that would define what their perfect MMO is. What's going on, Pocket? Hey, Solemn.
It's that internal war you see in FF and places like World of Warcraft, where you have the story lovers, but you also have the MMO enjoyers. And I think we really saw that in Endwalker with the lack of an exploration zone. That instanced MMO content was just not there for people who...
Right. Because the game isn't built up around it, so you don't end up having a reason to go back into the old zones. No. So it's like, okay.
The old zones just aren't structured for it either. They're A to B plot points of the story. And the story seems to be absorbing more parts of the MMO. For example, we didn't get a trial series in Endwalker, but that got folded into the narrative.
Well, a lot of it was like, they have to kind of finish the narrative. And so I hope that Dawn Trail breathes a whole fresh perspective into the game.
I'm gonna be honest, I think Endwalker and Stormblood probably needed to be 2 expansions each.
I would, that could have been, that. Hindsight is always 2020, so it's like, maybe.
It's because when I saw it, like, Heaven's Ward and Shadowbringer were, in a sense, one storyline, and Stormblood and Endwalker were another storyline in a sense, and they were folded into the overarching arc. But with Endwalker, you didn't really get Garlemald going as Garlemald should have been, and I think that was a disappointment. But at second time, you also had Elpis.
Yeah, we didn't the Garlemald thing was just strange because it's like at the end of the day, like here's this big bad threat, and it's like they're not a threat.
It felt the whole Garlemald invasion.
Hi, welcome to
rushed.
Destiny 2 stream where we bitch about Final Fantasy 14.
To be fair, the same things can be labeled at Destiny.
All we do nowadays is play a new game to get away from another game.
Yeah,
but pacing's been a big issue with MMO stories, though.
I mean,
and
has been.
I'm not sure why. It's
they're trying to like a story in an MMO like told in Final Fantasy. Like it ends up attracting a certain type of player, and that's nothing wrong with it. Like you need the casual player, you need the story-driven player, but I think what we've seen is just that becomes the thing to do in the game.
Yeah.
And anybody who's like, because that's the thing, like a lot of people get it frustrated. I go, 14 is an RPG MMO. it's Final Fantasy 14 first, and then and then it has optional MMO, content that you can choose to participate into it. And that's not saying it's a bad choice. That's actually a very smart business-driven choice.
I
because
think
it
it's
turns
the way Destiny's evolved as well, and the way WoW's evolved into as well, is that they've both become story-driven games at this point. I think if you're at the end of Destiny now, you're either just sticking around for the PvP, or you're just sticking around to see how the story pans out at this point.
Yeah.
And I think that's why Lightfall was probably a major disappointment.
Well, for me, and that's one of the things. Like, I was talking with some people in my comment section this week, because I think I posted. It was I forget when anyway, there was this discussion around Destiny.
I think
That Destiny video you posted, yeah.
Did I post a Destiny video?
Well, you posted a
You're that
reaction
busy.
video.
Yeah, I did the reaction. Okay, yeah, I was like, I did the reaction. I was like, wait a minute, like I haven't scripted anything for a Destiny video yet. Okay, yes, you're right. Thank you very much for helping me remind myself of all the I make. It's like, all right. And so I saw like a comment talking about just the overall, like, their kind of view of Destiny and kind of where it's at, and it's like, yeah, I get there's level of frustration, but man, like, it is a fun game at its core, and that's where I think if they had that fresh engine, building Destiny 3 from the ground up with like, hey, we're gonna be these things, and we're gonna we're gonna take lessons that we learn in design decisions that we made back from the original Destiny 2 and fix it. Because like when they sat down to tell us about like, oh, we're gonna put a PvP strike team together, it's like, why didn't y'all do that 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Because we are all like, because like I mainly PvP, and so somebody was talking about all the fun stuff that they do in PvE, and I was like, honestly, that's probably what I just need to play, because I've been like Halo Infinite right now. I think is just the PvP in that game is just, it's a lot of fun, and they don't have the artificial FOMO of the Destiny Battle Pass.
Did you guys see I think it was the interview with the former Sony CEO recently, where he was talking about subscriptions and how that has in a sense devalued how we approach content. And
devalued content?
Yeah, well, it's because it's just
That's why
but
I paid anything.
yeah, but I was thinking about this in terms of services, and I'm sat here going, holy shit, he's right in a sense, because in a live service, these upgrades, they're not really, big major leaps anymore. It's kind of like when you get your new iPhone, it's incremental.
Right,
the camera's slightly better.
Oh, shoot the symbols.
The camera's slightly better, and it's the same in Destiny. Changes are very slow, they're very incremental. They're not really, major leaps that you'd like to see, and you'd hope expansions would be for that. But it's not really, it doesn't really happen. And I think it's 40% of all people who play Destiny are PvPers, and they haven't seen a map in 4 years.
Right.
And it's just things like that.
Are we supposed to do anything
It's
else?
No, it's just audio.
Okay.
It's just
Okay.
like,
Yeah. I turned down the
So who
audio
you
so I could
making
hear y'all
game for?
talk.
It's just who are you making this game for?
Right. And so, do y'all think Marathon is going to be kind of their, saving grace?
No, because I think the people who are playing Destiny want Destiny, and I think if they feel burned by Destiny, they are not even going to touch Marathon.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's been going on for 6 years, and I think I said this in a tweet earlier, that if Bungie fails, in a sense, optically, to look like they can manage Destiny, I don't think anyone wants to invest in Marathon.
Mm.
And that's why I think I said in that question is, I think it's less important of whether Destiny or not is a good game, because it is a good game, and more important if Bungie can actually manage 2 games instead of 1 effectively over a long period of time. Which I think is everybody's concern. It's a lack of trust in development, and especially...
Right. What are their priorities? What are they working on?
Yeah. But I think what broke the camel's back was an interview. No, it wasn't an interview, it was a presentation of what they did. And they effectively said is that we don't over-deliver. We, in a sense, deliver the bare minimum. And I think that killed any hope people had, in a sense, of things getting significantly better.
Well, I mean, from a development perspective, you got probably people who are like you're working, and then, they're trying to do all these other things. And so it's like, no matter what, you always have to look at like time, money, resources, and passion. Do we have the people Do we have the money? Do we have the time? Do we have the, are people excited about the things they're working on? Because
Yeah, when I heard that, it just sounded like they were using agile. Everything's got a specific time frame.
Yeah,
everything's got a specific budget added to it. But as a stakeholder, if you're listening as a customer and you're hoping, that's going to sound brutal to you.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's the thing, like we see that a lot though also with the conflict between gamers and not understanding development. And it's not that the gamers are wrong, and it's not that like when you see games that really do stand out and stand apart from like all the noise, like you can easily draw clear distinctions as to why this game is working and others aren't. But I think there's obviously the heavy corporatization. I think you got a heavy, need for constant reoccurring revenue within the model, and like there's pros and cons to that. And I think one of the things that we're seeing right now is a lot of innovation within kind of more that indie, and even now like the double A's, right? Like the double A games, which felt like they were just nobody was going to give them the time of day, but now they're launching at $40 or $30, and everybody's like, this is everything. This is so much fun. Why is this so much fun and this AAA game isn't? And the answer is risk and cost,
Yeah, and it's less risk for the individual as well, especially now with the economy. $40 is a much better, value proposition.
Right.
And it's that buy to play model, and because it's a battle pass effective subscription, so it's just like, especially with Destiny and its FOMO mechanics, it's just brutal how they monetize that game. But I think the more they monetize that, the less people play it.
Yeah. Like at some point you're just like, this is just a pocket simulator where they're just going through my pockets.
I remember when they released Transmog, and that's glamour for people who play other games, and that was monetized. You could only it started off, you could only swap 10 pieces of armor a season, and then you had to buy upgrade charges. Is it still like that?
Well, so here's the thing with transmog. You can only earn 10 of the tokens per season that you use to unlock transmog. You can change your mog as often as you want, whenever you want, from any menu, as long as you're not on a locked loadout activity. But per season, per character, or per class type rather, you can earn 10 tokens to unlock 10 items that you can then use on transmog whenever you want, just like World of Warcraft.
That's just stupid.
They did.
It's another revenue
source. They have taken away one of the 2 resources you needed, and you can still pay to go for
it. Was Synth Fibers, wasn't it? What was the other one?
It was the fibers, and then
it was the fibers.
Sleeve bolts is the only thing that's left, and they're super easy to get.
Oh, thank God.
I usually get all of my transmog bounties done in the first 3 weeks of the season.
The bounty system in Destiny 2 is a lot weird. Is it? Because I remember in Destiny 1, you just got your bounties, you were one and done. It was like, what was it, 6 bounties a day that you could get? And in Destiny, it happens every day, so it's like a lot more of that task daily. When you come on every day, you have something to do.
Yeah, I feel like the NPCs in general, like the bounty system has come very close several times to being really good. And then they always either burn the idea out of it immediately by doing the same thing 3 seasons in a row, or they...
You guys like this?
Yeah, like, oh, you like it? We'll give you more. And it's like, no.
Yeah.
Is it the Riven's lair that I need to go to?
Yes,
Yep.
I believe so anyway.
Well, it has a symbol next to it, so we'll jump into that.
Well, and that's for the... Oh, yeah.
Destiny would be so amazing if they just ironed a few things out.
New World added the added in the like the transmog system, and you can earn tokens in game via the season pass, and you can also purchase tokens. And honestly, like with the no subscription, like I think I'm perfectly fine if somebody wanted to go and spend a lot of money on transmog tokens. Like, all right, man, that's that. You can. I get that you want more of them, but it's interesting because like, anything from the store is automatically transmog, and then basically the token just turns anything that's in the game drops into transmog, and it's great. Like there's some really cool stuff. I have.
Do you think this? Sorry, do you think this token stuff?
I have a little
Oh, you
side note real quick, Brian. And the storyline for actually Riven, for dealing with Riven in the Season of the Wish,
Didn't want to know.
this is actually a pretty good story and follow lead up to
The final shape.
Final Shape. So you might want to play through it at least.
I'll I'll play the PvE stuff here. Yeah, I was just saying that I probably will end up more or less like just catching up kind of on it. My name is Bife videos to really kind of understand the story because I've been out of it for the last year. So,
It's every good game is a game where you have to watch a YouTuber explain to you the narrative.
Well, that's the thing. If you wanted to actually binge the seasons, and I'm actually writing something about this right now. I just published a thing on WoW End of Expansion, but
nice.
this is a great year to be binging Destiny's seasonal content if you already have it from the deluxe or whatever.
See, I do. I have like that's the thing where I think the one change I'm gonna. Oh, I got slaughtered. I think that's the one change I'm gonna make.
Standing here being quiet.
I don't trust it. Oh, it's a floor. I gotta jump over that then. Okay. That's where with the final shape, I don't think I'm gonna buy any of the extra stuff. I think I'm just gonna buy the base game.
Me neither.
Because I was like, I literally like I've always been buying the whole thing, and then it's just like, all right, I guess I'm on a break.
You son of a bitch.
Oh, I forgot we even had to step on those though. Good job.
I need to stand in this thing.
There's 3 of them per room, kind of. I forgot where the third one is. You don't have to like stand.
They're
on them,
different every single time you come in here.
Yeah.
Their positioning.
Oh, that means it's probably to the left.
I found another one
Left is
over
always
here.
a good direction. Oh. Somehow. Yeah, where is the third one? Third one might be in the next room. Oh. I swear they put these things into. They put these in Grasp of Avarice.
Oh!
How do you guys feel about raiding and getting groups together? How do you feel that's changed since Destiny 1?
I think
Do you think
so.
it's better or worse?
I never did it in Destiny 1, but in the duration of Destiny 2, it has gotten so much. Like, we actually have the group finder in-game.
Yeah.
You can.
Oh, is it finally been
click on
implemented?
find a group, and someone can label their group as beginner friendly or not.
Oh, okay.
You can just recruit people. It's exactly like Duty Finder in 14 or LFG and WoW.
So you no longer have the quidded issue?
Nope. You can,
Nope.
like, all the Discord stuff is still there. You can still use the Destiny app. You can still use Bungie.net, the website. But now that they've actually added in the group finder to the game, I do dungeons, and I just did Root of Nightmares again last week, the newest raid.
Oh,
'cause
nice.
It's easy. Like, you can just jump in, find a group, and actually farm what you want to farm now.
That's the one with the planet mechanics, isn't it?
Yeah, that fight's really hard with new players, but you only need 4 out of the 6 to know what they're doing. It's not that bad.
I remember, I think I watched a Skeletor video, and it was a parody, and it gave me actually a better guide on that raid.
Probably, like, some of the best WoW guides I see are, like, super, super simplified versions of what they're trying to say.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't need to know how many seconds between things. I just need to know what to do when I see that color on the floor.
WoW has certainly got better at telegraphing what's what, especially because a lot of the mechanics are in the dungeons that are in the raid. You know, it's like I think it was the last fight with Fyrak with the orbs, and everybody's like, "Well, what'd you do?" And it's like, "Well, it's an orb. It's coming to the boss. Absorb the orb." You know, it's gotten a lot better at its language, even though it's presenting it differently. Brian, do we know when Blue Protocol's coming?
So I have the only theory I have right now is that we're gonna hear from Amazon sometime around PAX East.
PAX East.
And I would say June is a likely candidate, but they are like in absolute radio silence. So I'm literally just like in a holding pattern. Very excited for that
hard month.
June is going to be a hard month.
Yeah, for
Like
people.
we got Dragon's Dogma 2 this month. I'm really looking forward to that.
Dragon's Dogma 2 this month, Elden Ring in June, and what else is there in June as well? A few other things. There's is WoW? No, it's not WoW. It's what's in June for an MMO? There's something else in June.
Maybe Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah, it's probably Final Fantasy.
So it should be coming up on that. I don't think we.
I still think
WoW
July. Some Chili was saying that the WoW's expansion is going to come out this year as well.
It is out this year, but
That's
it'll be
so
out.
wild. Final Fantasy and WoW used to be in off pocket years, and now they're going to be on the same.
Yeah.
Hey,
Look at
Chili. Speaking
Here
of,
he is.
my favorite Brit.
Aw, thank you. But no, June is hell. Please do not read
Yeah.
Blue Protocol in June.
I think please don't release anything else more in June. My wallet's already
June is Elden Ring,
Yep.
possibly Final Fantasy 14, Elder Scrolls Online, because their new expansion is in June.
Is it? Oh my god.
Yeah.
Hasn't Guild Wars also?
And then you have World of Warcraft sometime in the summer as well, which I'm
Is it
guessing is.
That must be August. That must be August.
Yeah.
I don't imagine them doing it any earlier.
You have the pre-patch before that as well, though. So that'll be July.
We still need one more play at the end. I went over here early.
All right.
I mean, it's pre-patch though. What pre-patch lasts how many weeks again? 6 to 8. It should
Something
be
like
fine.
that.
Yeah. I've always
Man,
liked that WoW does pre-patch.
If they add WoW to Game Pass, man, I'm gonna have to check it out because it's rumored to come to GeForce Now, and I'm just like, holy crap, man! Like every game now that's on GeForce Now, I just like, oh, that's a game I can uninstall from my computer now.
Yeah.
So much
GeForce is a
space.
game changer.
It is
I don't know
such
how
a game
Xbox
changer.
Is.
Yeah.
I don't know how Xbox is going to compete if all their games are on GeForce Now, because there's no point having a Series X with 4 Series S profiles if everything is on a platform that achieve effectively, what's it, 120 frames 4K?
Well, they consider GeForce Now an Xbox, so it's like,
Consider everything an Xbox.
yeah, everything's an Xbox, guys. So
My PlayStation's an
your
Xbox.
PlayStation's an Xbox.
If Xbox
It's why I.
runs
It's why I hate.
laugh.
It's why I hate the next. Like when everyone said, "Oh, I hate the fact that it's still." Yeah, they were. Yeah, the rumor was that they're going to rename it Microsoft Game Pass.
Yeah.
that was a rumor, wasn't it? Because of me, I'm like, do that, please. For the love of
Yeah.
God, just change it to Microsoft Game Pass because it's on more than the Xbox.
The thing is, right, is
Like, it
that
makes more sense.
Microsoft it's always been has moved into SaaS now. I think 95% of companies are all on Microsoft Teams now. Microsoft
Yeah.
Office, you know. I'm just like, this is just their entertainment solution moved into it.
Yeah.
You know, this is just
And
going to be, you know, if I was-
I'm gonna be very surprised if they can't eventually get Game Pass into the millions.
right.
you
See, if
know.
I was working back in education and I was selling back to schools, I would be probably saying Game Pass, because a lot of schools in the UK, Chile, I'm not sure if you knew this, are doing esports now. It's now effectively becoming a club,
Oh,
like
wow.
a British esports organisation. Yeah, and they've been doing, I think it was Alienware's built a massive centre for esports in the north of the country.
The schools still exist at least.
Yeah, I mean, without the roofs collapsing, I guess.
Yeah.
But,
That's
no,
part of
but
the
it's...
esport. Do you beat the level or does the
Yeah.
collapse?
I don't know how the local authorities are bankrupt at this point. I mean, someone must be pocketing that money. But when I was working in the education department, it was esports for a lot of it, and that's how I was shipping a lot of high-end, in a sense, gaming rigs into schools, and they were quite big. But it was like even in worse off schools that were doing it, such as schools in Wales, that type of things, which are a lot less well off. But at that point, even then, we're talking leasing service and things like this. Everything's going to lease. Like my car's going to a lease. You know, the government's going into leases. Everything's going into leases. It's generally you will own nothing and be happy. That line just genuinely seems to
It's
be.
scary.
As Ubisoft
Yeah.
said, get used to not owning your games.
He wasn't wrong though.
As
That's
much
the
as it
thing.
was, as much as they said it a little bit too early, they're not wrong. They're not
They're not
wrong at
wrong.
all. They said it way too soon, but they're not wrong.
See, that's the weird thing.
Say
'Cause
that again
everybody
in 10
says
years.
they're saying, everybody keeps saying that you lost your ownership to your games in the 80s. Like you never owned the software
Yeah.
on the disc. You only owned the disc. You know, it's just
Oh, yeah, don't
the
forget to give it,
distribution.
Oh,
You know, the
does it pop
distribution
up?
methods
yeah.
changed.
How do we do that?
you can hit tab.
Well, on the controller, what do I do?
It'll tell you on your key guide.
It's however you go your direct.
Your option menu button thingy.
Summary
whatever
full
that is.
results. Oh, okay, I can
Yeah.
vote. All right, I'll get Nanny first.
2024 has been interesting because it seems to have been a great awakening in a sense of a lot of issues that were thought to be solved. And I think the public's just kind of, it's hit saturation in their head of, I want to actually own things I buy, even if it's digital. I want to, I want to actually have data protection. And it's, no, I don't want Apple to, give me a bunch of peripherals. I want a standardization again. And it seems to just be rolling and rolling and rolling. And I wonder where it's going to end up, especially for a lot of emerging tech.
They're already.
Pre-order the final shape, Brian. It wants you to pre-order it.
Oh, dude, it wants, yeah. Please give us money.
Ooh, this hoverboard though. This hoverboard. I don't know if you'll be able to grind out to get it permanently, but try this hoverboard while you're on tonight.
Okay.
Yeah. Go open. Go to
I'm
tower.
gonna go get tacos.
Tower?
I will be back.
Oh, tacos.
Ooh.
Yes, I have
Dude.
decided on tacos. I will return.
That sounds so wonderful.
I'm still living that student life. I just had naan bread and like 2 bits of chicken.
I had some zucchini, I cooked the zucchini and the onion. Got like a pound of hamburger meat, and then I mixed it with my pasta sauce, and then I layered some cheese on top and put some pepperonis, and we call that my pizza bake because I can't eat carbs and bread.
I genuinely
so.
have to ask you this. How do you find the time?
How do I find the time? I get up at like 4 in the morning.
More
Like,
than what that makes.
Yeah, he's getting up at about the time I'm going to bed right now.
Yeah, same here.
like I like I find that time. But the other thing is that the thing that I think a lot of people are like, he's a content creator. It's like, I don't live stream that often. Like it's, I like to have at least one a week, which is fun. And they're usually capped at maximum 3 hours. After 3 hours, I'm just like, I'm tired.
I look at you're pumping out multiple videos a day. You have 6 kids, and I'm
yeah.
sat,
Oh, dude. Well,
you're
yeah.
cooking dinner. Like
kids
homegrown
are.
style, and
I clean. I've been helping the kids learn how to ride the bikes. And I just find I just find slots of time. And the thing is that, and this isn't. I never want anybody to like see what I do, and then it's like, oh, I can, like be intimidated. But I know that some people tell me that I am very tenacious, driven. It's like, okay, so I get an idea in my head, and the downside, like there's a negative side to like my personality, but I get an idea in my head and I finish it. So it's just like, all right, this is what I got to do. And I focus in on it and I get it done. The downside,
admirable, though. I'm surprised you don't homeschool at this point.
Oh, I don't. The only reason we don't homeschool, I think, is because I think that my wife would be really stressed out by that.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I tell her, I was like, figure out what makes you happy. Like, happy wife, happy life. Like, let's come up with the game plan if you're not, vibing on it. But she wants to be a stay-at-home mom, and I'm like, go for it, So I have a great support system, a great support network. But the downside to my personality is that if I can't finish it, I have a hard time letting it go. And so I can be kind of grumpy when I'm like, oh man, like I got, so it's just a balance. And so it's the things is that y'all see those things. You don't see the 100 misses that I have during the day. Like, oh man, I didn't get to that. Oh, I forgot to do that. Oh no. It's like, so.
It's just weird from a British perspective. I'm not sure if it's the same for Chile, but I just always feel like the Americans have a bit more of a flexible lifestyle.
I do have a flexible lifestyle because I also work from home. So.
I feel like the UK,
It's on the second.
it's
on
different. I feel like UK is a bit more more flexible than America, in a way. it feels different. It just because we
Yeah.
see Americans at a different time. So
Maybe. I always feel like we're a bit too strict with how we treat our lives over here.
Oh, we have that also,
but
that
we
problem
also
here
get
in
we
America as
get a
well.
lot more holidays in the UK compared to
Yeah,
America.
that's true.
Like we're more strict when we actually have to work, but we're compared to America, where if they take a minute off work, they will get fired.
Yeah, I've
I
told
don't
my
know how
boss
that is, though.
multiple times, like, so I got a raise in October, and I was like, yes, but it wasn't as much as I was wanting. I was like, oh man, maybe and it's like, but I was like, in lieu of that, because guys, if you ever get offered anything, just get in the habit of countering, because it's just get in the habit of countering, and so I ended up picking up an extra 2 days of PTO. Because I was like, hey, well, like in lieu of a raise, do you mind if I get some PTO? Because my priority is spending time with the kids. The kids are all asleep. Maddie's watching Harry Potter, but she's older. She can kind of manage herself now. But it's like my priority is spending time with the kids. So like this week, I'm gonna take the kids on a little trip. We're gonna go look at some dinosaur tracks and do some other stuff. But I'm gonna be out of pocket. You won't see me for a few days, and it's like, yeah, that's the thing. And I'm gonna use some of that bonus PTO to go and spend time with the kids. I'm trying to save up because my dad wants to take them skiing in December, and so I need to save up any and all my PTO so that way I can I can make that happen. Because
that's what I mean though, because like I think one of my favorite YouTube shorts is like a French, I think it was Frenchman or an Italian man, like he's like, this is the difference between European holidays and American holidays. And he's like, okay, I'm going on holiday. I might be back in a week too. We'll see. And then the American is like, okay, I've got this phone number. I've got this if you need to call me on this. I've got this if you need to call me on this. And I've got this if you need me now.
I told my boss they had to, they need to like double my salary if they want me to put Teams on on my phone. I just don't have any of it on my phone.
That's my life because I work in sales. So
the other thing I could say that I do differently and where I think I have an advantage is I don't use my phone. I don't have social media apps. I do have a few ways that people can contact me on it, but right now it's in grayscale for Lint. So it's like I find that I'm not ever really on my phone that much, and that is a huge time saver.
What have you given up for Lent? What have you?
So we've been doing prayers and fasting, and obviously like the no meat on Fridays, and honestly, like the thing from the Catholic perspective is that you're supposed to be doing something every Friday, even not in Lent, but they were like, oh, you pick, and then everybody's like, oh, we don't have to do anything. It's like, all right. So I was like, yeah. So but my diet is so restrictive that it's like I've been on kind of this Lenten fast for 9 months now. So ultimately it's spending time praying, reading with the kids. We do we get up at at 6:40 in the morning. I'm at the breakfast table with the kids and we got them breakfast. I don't eat breakfast, so I just drink coffee, and then we read kind of from the children's Bible, as a part of some like scripture for breakfast, because this is just all kind of hard.
A children's Bible?
Yeah. Like it's some more simplified stories with drawings and stuff like that they want to see, and so we read that. We've been doing the Hallow Lenten reflection stuff, and just going through and listening to that, and then we also do that also for dinner, and then afterwards, kids will get brushed their teeth and get ready for bed, and then we all meet together in the den, and we do prayers, and then we do stories. So that's
it's just in Scotland it's Calvinist. In Scotland it's Calvinist Presbyterian, so they're a bit literal with stuff. So it's just like there is no children's Bible, there is the Bible, and you will learn it.
And you will learn it.
Yeah, and you will learn it. It's a very Scottish mentality of do as you're told, don't do as I do.
That's so
Do
funny.
they still do Latin in Scotland?
No. It's Protestant, so they were pretty hard against that.
She's just like, my mom was very upset when they get rid of the Latin mass.
People are
No,
still upset by it. Yeah.
Scotland's been very religiously strict. Probably the most strict out of 4 countries in the UK.
Hmm.
More strict, I would say, than Ireland was.
Oh man, they
And they
updated
didn't-
the. What do we do next, guys?
If I remember correctly, because I just kind of it out. To get the hoverboard unlocked, at least the temporary one, please have to equip your All-Star cape and then launch one of the Guardian game events from the tower.
Okay. Sorry, I kind
Yeah,
of
that's fine.
I don't know where I need to go.
No, it's one of the reasons Christmas isn't actually popular in Scotland.
Really?
Yeah, so we had because during the 18th century, Cromwell banned Christmas, and nobody ever told Scotland that Scotland he died, effectively, and it stayed banned. And the problem with that is that Hogmanay is a pagan festival,
Mm-hmm.
and that ended up just taking all the traditional capital in a sense, and now Hogmanay lasts for like a week, and it's like tax-free alcohol, and everybody just gets drunk.
Yeah. Karamek is sound off in chat, and it's so true. He says, one of the perks about living in such a heavy Catholic area is during Lent, all the restaurants had fish options. RB has shockingly good fish fillet sandwiches. Yeah, Long John Silver's, as we'd always kind of laugh, like there's restaurants that are just my Lenten restaurants, you know? And the other thing we're trying to do, though, this year is that, like, we've actually given up fish. So, like, on, Friday, I'll have some beans and some eggs. So, it's just like, it sucks.
And I could not give up fish. I just had shrimp scampi the other night.
Dude, yeah.
Ooh.
I love it. But that's the thing. It's like,
Anyway.
like, if you gave me the choice, and when we start to think about, like, what's the purpose behind it, not trying to be scrupulous and, too, like, extreme, but it's just like, what's the purpose behind it? What is the sacrifice? Because I like shrimp. I could eat shrimp and sushi, and, it's like, yeah, that falls within the rule, but it's like, I'm kind of, mocking the spirit of it. So trying to just, like, kick back, relax, and,
Well, I mean, if you really want to get into the spirit of it, just do the full 40 days of fasting.
I feel like I've been
all the
doing
wives here-
9 months of fasting.
I feel like all the wives here want their husbands to give up alcohol, and that's never happening.
Oh, well, see, I'm off alcohol for 3 years as a part of this
I've
weight
never
loss journey.
drunk alcohol, so how
Really?
does that count?
That was
Chill,
the
you
point of
probably
my-
know this. It's Scotland. It's not. They say the rain's makes the whiskey, so it's not exactly.
And the whiskey, you know what they
I'm
say, makes my
involving-
baby
I'm-
tipsy.
I'm not Scotland, but I'm North England, so
Yeah, it's.
I'm North Yorkshire.
Where are you?
Yeah.
But
it's-
you gotta remember too, Brian. Tequila makes the clothes fall off.
Yeah,
I know I
that's
don't have the
thank
accent
you,
of a North Yorkshire
Mike.
person, but yeah.
That's why I love you, buddy. I was like, I'm waiting for somebody to.
What education did you have? Or were you more private? Because they kind of beat it out of you if you were private.
No, I went to public.
Oh, okay.
I was born in the South and I moved up here when I
Ah.
was young, and I've just never picked up the accent.
Okay, unfortunately, I left Scotland when I was 15, and then I never got rid of the accent.
Yeah. No, I was like, what, 7 when we moved up to the north, and I'm now 37. So
Yeah, I find England to be much more enjoyable to live in than Scotland is, just because there's more to do. Scotland's quite limited.
that was
It's
more
just-
to do.
There's,
Now
there's
it's
more.
really
It's
expensive
what?
to do it.
Go to your bands. You should have the All-Star band on you now.
The All Star Band.
Yep.
Oh, over here. Yeah, All Star
To be
Band. Sweet.
Yep.
To be fair, though, I'm trying to move to Australia at this point.
I don't know why I broke that down. Oh well. That was masterworked. It was. Oh well.
I'm not sure you've seen this
Take it to
trend.
Bungie. Wait 3 months and you'll get that item back.
I'm good.
How are they managing
like-
the old seasonal content in a sense? Because all the season pass armors are no longer available. Someone said they put it on a cash shop.
I'm
don't know.
not
I
sure.
don't really look glamour stuff. I got the glamours that I want, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Because
Alright.
someday I believe someone said they put Season of the Dawn armor on the cash shop.
Do we need to go back
Again,
to the
I'm not
Riven's
sure.
Lair? I'm confused. I guess seasonal quest maybe. Waypoint added. All right.
Well, if you wanna get your hoverboard to play around with it, go back to the map, go to the tower.
Okay.
Just don't launch at the tower. Just get one of the activities up top.
One of the activities up here.
Yeah.
Y'all want to do nightfall? Do we have a third?
Well, we will have a third when Neon gets back.
All right. Do we know when that's gonna be?
Just he should be probably.
We'll do what's
minutes
recreational
or so.
playlist.
Yeah.
We'll do that. We'll try this out with the two of us and see if it finds. Oh, that's find an invite. Okay, cool.
What level of Nightfall are you doing?
Oh, we haven't picked one yet. I did the whatever the event is on the left.
Yeah, because it's got Party Finder at the lower levels.
Oh yeah,
matchmaking.
adding it into the battle pass or the cash shop. Yeah, checks out.
Someone says yes, they have added 2 older battle passes, armor ornaments sets to the cash shop.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you guys for
Oh,
the
yeah,
19
Austin,
likes,
Ryan.
by the way. Go ahead, Mike.
You can also access your vault while you're in space too.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you have a phone app as well for it.
Yeah, I just was like, eh.
To be fair though, that was they took a long time to get around because you already had Destiny Vault managers like this that were doing it years beforehand.
Yeah, you had Dib for phone and also on PC, but yeah, but now you can access it without even worrying about
Yeah.
being at a vault in game.
One.
All right.
They're full price.
What?
Oh, hoverboards.
Those battle pass ornaments sets are full price.
What's full
Right,
price?
are we talking like £15? What, $15? That type of price?
I don't know what the full price is.
Because last time I checked Destiny, cosmetics were quite expensive.
Not like video.
No, BDO was rough.
BDO is a lot worse.
Fucking
To
expensive.
be fair,
You
it's
never
like
know
not like
about that
Diablo at this.
firsthand.
I think Diablo took the biscuit of it all. It's like $40 cosmetic,
Yeah.
and I'm like
15
yeah,
bucks.
100 silver, $15.
$15.
So
Didn't they also do something where they changed the digital currency, so you had to buy it multiple times instead of it?
yeah, everyone does that.
God, it's such a scummy dark part, and I love it. You know, it's one of those things where it's like, if I was doing a business, I would, but I don't want it done to me.
The psychology is there. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
you know, if you don't really know what you're spending, then you'll end up overspending. Same thing with credit cards. People overspend on credit cards by
Yeah.
20%. So it's like, oh yeah, I pay off the interest. You know, like, oh great, but you also paid 20%. You threw away 20% regardless.
Isn't credit card interest also huge? Like
Yeah,
really quick,
20% generally.
I've never had one, so I just don't know. I always thought it was like overdraft interest rate, so it just gets out of control very quickly. It's interesting though, because I would hope, I always hoped games like Final Fantasy 14, even though it's not a paid battle pass, would keep the battle passes for the PvP. You know, like it's just like any
Well, that was
system
the
for battle
confusing
pass.
part, because it sounded originally like, not that you kept it, but like
Yeah,
it was going to be
continue.
around for like a couple of seasons. That's what it sounded like originally.
Yeah.
I just
Like,
thought it was
kinda
going to be
like the-
added to the reward shop, you know, for the wolf marks, and then it just
Yeah.
didn't. It's like we just got the
At
relic
least the
deal
Health
added to
Divers
the wolf
Battle
mark.
Pass, by the way. At least the Health Divers Battle Pass, if you bought the premium one, you keep it. And that's a
I
new one.
like the Helldivers.
Yeah.
Helldivers is a game I really want to play because I'm a massive Starship Troopers fan. I've read the book, and the book is much better than the movie because the movie's a bit funny with how it depicts the actual society. Because it's
The
just not
movie
depicted.
kind of, well, I think the movie was supposed to make fun of the book or something.
Well, the movie tries to depict what is a very classically liberal society as fascist, even though it's got nothing to do with fascism.
Yeah. That's
It gives the aesthetic, but it doesn't give any of the actual philosophical depth.
yeah.
So it's like, men and women have equal rights. Like, that's not. And it's just like things like that. It's just like women play men's sports. You know, you have Diz and all this. Like the comic books for Starship Troopers, or the movies, especially the animated movies.
Yeah.
It's just didn't Sony make a Starship Troopers game?
No.
No.
I don't think it's Sony.
No.
There's a Starship Troopers game out. I think it's in early access.
Is it?
Starship Extermination.
That's it.
Okay.
Starship
It's just because
Extermination.
Oh no, there was an RTS as well called Terrain Command.
Oh, okay.
it's just never a franchise given its due, you know. Which is actually why I'm excited.
Astrocats? They made.
Developed and published by Offworld is the Starship Troopers Extermination.
Is it PC only? Okay.
It's a spoof. It's based off of the movie.
Yeah, but no, the RTS was already out and is by the people who made Warhammer 40,000 Battle Sector.
Okay. Did you see the second and third Starship movies?
I didn't even know there were
I
any.
didn't know they made other ones other
So
than
the
the first one.
second one is a horror movie where they basically take the idea of a brain bug to the extreme, and it's actually really good in terms of how creepy it is. I think I was like 12 when I saw it, and I didn't want to even watch it again. It was a bit like when you're too young and you play Dead Space for the first time, and then you just never touch the game. And I think that was the first game I realised that the age rating actually mattered. And the third one's very, very cheesy. And it's got a musical number, which isn't bad, but it's very, very religious, like allegory on the nose of it, which I think detracts from the overall plot of the movie because it's just so forceful with it.
Right.
But it's very sing along songy. But it brings back Johnny Rico, and it's pretty good otherwise. It brings in a lot of the animated stuff, like the mech. Where you actually have the mech suits that can fire and nuke and just destroy everything. But it basically just ties everything together. But it's not as good as the first one, but it's not bad. It's generally not a bad movie.
Right.
It's like a solid 6.
Okay.
Okay, it was actually a game in 2005 by Empire Interactive that was also a Starship Troopers game. Empire Interactive published Panzer Dragoon on PC, Sega Rally on PC. They bought a load of Dreamcast games.
And their
to PC.
Dragoon, nice.
Yeah.
See, you guys are so lucky because you guys grew up in my circle winning a lot of games. I grew up at the end of the PS2 era. Like I'm not old enough to have played Oblivion, in a sense. Like I missed that. Like Skyrim is like my first Bethesda game.
I got Oblivion on my shelf behind me.
But I hear like people talking about more and things like this, saying, "Oh, it was amazing." And I wish I could have played that at the time.
See, I don't like most of their games, so.
I don't like most of Bethesda's games
either.
either. But it's just like I wish I could have been there at that time to experience that sort of that cultural moment. If that makes sense, because I go back and I play the games now, and it's a bit too old for me. Like
It's also salt, so it's like. Oh yeah.
I tried to go back and play Dragon Age Origins. Like it was my first RPG ever. I tried to go back. Like I tried the PC port, and the PC port is just
bad.
It's bad.
Yeah.
It's like the console version
I
is
tried
so
to
much
play it and
better.
it just crashes.
Yeah,
Yeah, it crashes at Ostagar.
I never played the Mass Effect series.
I played
can't
the
get into
Mass
Mass
Effect
Effect.
series, but on PS3, and oh my god, PS3 version of Mass Effect 1 was one of the worst games ever made. In fact, the DLC would just crash and freeze your console because they had lost the files to the DLC, so they kind of just stuck bits together so they could try and release it.
I almost feel like
They
that
said that the files got corrupted and they'd lost some of the textures and all that lot. So some areas didn't even have textures
I just
because
don't
they
get.
tried to rush it out.
Fascinating.
I just don't get BioWare because Dragon Age was the most successful IP they had, and they decided to push Mass Effect, and then put Mass Effect elements into Dragon Age, and it just made the experience worse. Like the amount of RPG.
Well, it's because Mass Effect got a bigger appeal than Dragon Age, and
Dragon
then
Age sold more.
Microsoft backed. Yeah, but Microsoft backed Mass Effect.
Did it?
Yeah, Microsoft pushed Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3
Okay.
because they were exclusive to Xbox for a while.
Mass Effect? Was it?
Especially Mass Effect was exclusive to Xbox until like Mass Effect 2, I think, because then they had to go back and for Mass
No,
Effect 1.
Mass Effect 1 was on the PC as well.
This is fascinating because
I mean,
It was disc.
I'm talking console exclusive. Sorry.
it's
If
fascinating.
you
'cause I was-
exist on PC, you're not. It's not exclusive. So the console exclusive in my mind, I'm like whatever.
Okay. Mass Effect 1 was exclusive to Xbox 360 and then ported to Windows by Dermagog Studios a year later.
So
And then it was
time
ported to
timed
PS3.
exclusive then.
Yeah.
It's funny.
And then it was
'cause what
ported to the
it,
PS3 5 years.
What,
after
360
that.
era was what, 2006, right? Was the 360 era?
Yeah.
Was when that began?
Yeah.
I would have been, what,
Yeah.
9 at that point? I was, again, it's like, Mass Effect 2 was my first Mass Effect. So it's like, I'm just at that point.
Right. We can now call it timed exclusive, but when it first came out, there was no mention
Right.
of a PC version. So
That was a
looking back,
whole
yeah,
other
it's
era.
not-
But that was also the shift of it, like when everything starts to shift.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
And then
I
Mass Effect
probably-
2 launched on both PC and 360 at the same time because of how well that worked. And then later on, the PS3 version was announced in 2011 for Mass Effect 2, which was technically the first Mass Effect because they didn't release Mass Effect 1 until after 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking about technological shifts, I was discussing this with my parents the other night, and my niece and nephew don't know what a DVD is.
What?
What?
They're underage time, they don't know what a DVD is. They've never seen it.
Ooh.
How's that work?
Because everything's digital. Everything's been streamed since they've been born. And I've felt so old ever since.
That's disappointing.
Yeah.
My
it's
kids
like,
know what
it's like-
DVDs are though, because like we still can use them. We'll get them at the library.
Yeah. But I just felt like this was like the floppy bit growing up for me. There's one around the house, but it's never used. And
And then there were the 5-inch and the 8-inch floppies and the 12-inch floppies
Zip drive.
before the 3.5.
Yeah, I was gonna say zip drives.
Yeah.
I remember the Millennium Dome in 2000 where you got a zip of this, but basically you went in and they scanned you, and they made a 3D model of you in early 2000s. So, like there's somewhere there's a zip drive with digital chili from 24 years ago,
Nice.
where they did a 3D scan of your entire body and made you into an avatar.
that's awesome.
That's interesting. It's like what
And
meta.
they also had a cool. One of my favorite experiences, like it was, of course it'll look bad now compared to nowadays, but they had a Colin McRae racing car. One of the, I don't know what his car. Yeah, one of his famous cars. And they'd removed the windscreen with a giant monitor. The PC was in the booth of the engine, and everything was plugged in so that you could, when you sat in the car, you were playing. Like it looked like you were driving in the game inside the car, because they'd replaced the pedals and stuff like that with pedals plugged into the PC, so you were driving with like the wheel and stuff, and it was all on the monitor for the windscreen.
That's cool.
Now
Yeah.
head back to the top. Now head back to the actual tower.
All right,
Fine.
sounds good. Thank you, sir. Thanks for being my Sherpa. The
No problem.
and Karamek's talking about how like now it's all going to be, that was like 25 years ago, but now it's all going to be AI deepfake.
Yeah. Yeah.
AI is just such generative AI is odd. It's an odd thing because it's just I've never seen something marketed so heavily so quickly in terms of sales. It's just everybody's just jumped on it so fast, and
still has a lot of issues.
yeah, it's
Oh yeah.
but the thing
Everyone has extra
weird.
fingers.
Dude, I've been using a Copilot for
Some
work,
looks pretty good.
and it's been phenomenal.
But
Especially
it has the at least the like Stable Diffusion and stuff has an art style that is very noticeable if you know what you're looking for.
I think it's happened majorly fast because I think this is the first, in a sense, bubble Microsoft has been able to lead in and properly implement
while,
into its
yeah.
operating system so quickly.
Like, people are going to hate me for this, and I'm sorry if this gets you in trouble, and like myself in trouble. Like, I still feel like if NFTs had been done right at the start, they wouldn't have been hated as much as they are.
yeah, like there's
nothing-
some
By
practical
not done by some
uses.
people.
Right, but
There's
there's
nothing wrong with blockchain technology.
right the
Yeah, like,
technology
imagine-
sound.
Yeah, speeder, Brian.
The implementation
imagine
is
if-
where it all
right.
comes into. What's up, Cyril?
Like,
Check to see if you have the sparrow. Goody character, go where you change sparrows.
Okay, I'm
I think
pulled
the
up.
major, Charlie, I think the major flaw with NFTs
Like-
is that it became so synonymous with scams so quickly.
yeah, that's the problem. Like, imagine like if
I
Microsoft
liked it a lot
had
more than the
used-
back-
backend.
to your
You know,
mail
obviously with
because
the
Oh,
request.
Steve.
Yeah, buddy.
I like
Oh,
pulling my
let's just say
Hold on,
totally
hold
off
on.
the door more than slash.
Hold on, guys. Hold
No,
on.
mine-
Game then Grave with the resub tier 1 for 27 months of support. Thank you so much for that. He's like, I was here when no beanie was worn. Absolutely, sir. Let me update our member count here, pushing us to 18 to 25. Thank you very much.
Is membership on Twitch or is it on YouTube, by the way?
What's up?
Is membership done on Twitch or is it done on YouTube? Because
YouTube is where more of it is, but if somebody does something on Twitch, it counts.
okay, 'cause
But I get a
I-
bigger cut of the YouTube than I do the Twitch. It's like,
I remember you having a join button at one point, but I tried to do it the other day and I couldn't see it.
yeah, I got the join button, and then the second link in the description is also the same
Okay.
same thing, but no pressure. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I
the
just did it
join
on
button is
Twitch.
at the bottom right.
Is that the bottom right?
You're talking about Twitch.
It's to the left of the subscribe button.
No, it's just I ended up doing over on Twitch, but I couldn't see the YouTube one because normally when you
The
do join
YouTube
up-
one is the little dollar sign next to the smiley face.
okay.
I think that's how you like
Then
super chat or
membership.
whatever. And it's weird because like on the dashboard, I have to go to the public stream to gift out the members because it won't let me do it from my YouTube studio dashboard, which is just wild. All right, I need to deposit my extra sparrow so I can get the hoverboard.
Oh,
No, can I finish what I was saying?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Chili.
But imagine if you bought a game on Steam and the game itself was the NFT, which means the game itself gets a unique number. And so that way you could then set up a resale of your digital games by you selling the game secondhand after you've played it. Like that would be the perfect way you could use it. It
Yeah.
would never happen.
Well, and it
But
could
you
also
license
it could
it.
also include like your game saves. So imagine you're like,
Yeah.
oh man, like hey guys, I grinded out all this really crazy stuff, like you could back in the old days with cartridges where you could buy a used game where you could go rent a game and you're like, oh, there's another save here, and you could end up having just that excitement if you chose that you wanted that at all. So
The
I
only
think that would have been a
issue-
good use of it.
I see with this, and it's the issue that was always laid at the feet of NFTs is its software. It's infinitely reproducible. It's not like a hard version anymore. You're not going to get a hard. You can always resell a hard copy because effectively what you're doing is you're reselling the medium of delivery for that software. But with software, it's like I don't really see any incentive for firms to say now the license is going to belong to a unique identifier, and we're only going to produce 5 million. You know, and again, it's just like everything. The technology's sound, but it's just finding that amazing use for it.
Did you have the Sparrow? The hoverboard?
So far, I don't think I have.
How does the hoverboard feel?
Oh, it's fun.
Is it fun?
Oh, yeah.
Because I remember the last time I really played a game with proper hoverboard was like Jack 3. And that was what, PS2?
Yeah.
So who do I need to talk to about a hoverboard?
Go back and talk to Eva.
Okay.
Unclaimed
challenge.
No, but
wait till the
I got an event ticket. Speak with Commander Zavala.
no, but on the NFT stuff, Chili, I really like the point of being able to resell digital codes. I just don't know how it's going to work, and if it would even
As
be.
I said, it would be possible by having a unique ID, and then you can then sell it off via like something like Steam, like through a Steam marketplace or whatever, and then that would then be given. You know, then that ID would be removed from your account and then be
I could
transferred
imagine
to the
Steam
person
doing
that
it.
paid for it.
I could certainly imagine Steam doing it, but I don't, because
I
Steam already
don't think
has
it
a
would happen.
marketplace. I don't think Xbox or Sony would do it. I think Steam would do it just as because they have a tradition of, you know, being an open platform and being user friendly.
Mm-hmm.
But even from a developer standpoint, you know, it's what, £15 versus a full price purchase again.
Yeah.
But then again, I just wish developers would just say you've got the license to play it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whether
Yeah.
it's GeForce now, your PC, your PS5, your Xbox, you know, your fridge.
What's up, Safner? He says, I must say Destiny 2 has gameplay that it's amazing. Gunplay feels great. The issue, this overarching story narrative is non-existent. Their current story model does not tell why we should care. And I get that so much.
The narrative really only got good, what was it, after Season of the Witch? Or and slightly leading up to it. No,
In this expansion?
No, it was last expansion. That's when it really got kicked into overdrive. Like everybody, you know, it was in item description things. It was in Grimoire cards, the original Destiny, and that's why people loved it. It gave you that Elden Ring experience and, you know, how you read the lore. And everybody had their pet theory about how it all worked. But I think, again, it's like my major issue with a lot of narratives is that it's like from Final Fantasy to World of Warcraft, you have the big bads, and the big bad eventually becomes the bad guy, the main villain. And it's like, if you're in like Dungeons and Dragons or something, you will never meet a god because they can just wish you to die, because you're an adventurer. You're not, you're not the chosen one. Right? You know, it's always that issue of, well, the power creep keeps going. Eventually, I'm going to make my way up the hierarchy to Satan, and then I'm going to defeat Satan, and then you can never really beat Satan as a villain the next time around. You know, it's like Dawn Trail.
You've blown your load.
Yeah, we're going back to small stories, and I'm like, but nobody's a threat now because you've faced the literal incarnation that can rot the planet with like negative emotion. You know, it's just.
What's up, Crash? You want to come hang out and voice chat, man? Oh, speaking of, anybody who's just coming into the stream and are new, the top link in the description will get you in the Discord and come hang out and voice chat, just like you hear these fine fellows and myself. Gray says, one second. Gray says, I like Destiny 2 until I realized they sunset most of the campaign, and I come in right after that, and I just quit playing it. The sunsetting is something that it's like, they call it vaulting, and if they unvault it, then it's vaulting. But if they keep it vaulted, then they just deleted it, and they put a little fancy, nice little word on top of it.
Shelly, what did you think of the sunsetting stuff?
On Destiny.
Yeah.
I still think it was something to do with Activision. I know they said it wasn't, but I still feel like it's something to do with Activision. Like, I just find it suspicious that a lot of the stuff that is voted is the stuff that they worked with Activision.
But it's weird because a lot of the stuff they vaulted have come back as well.
Yeah, over time. But that would involve just sorting out legal issues.
Yeah. It's the weird thing, though, is that I think Activision. It's really weird from the management issue at Bungie's a really weird thing because, you know, when it happened, when the split happened, everybody was just popping champagne, saying it was amazing. And now the firm has a worse reputation than Activision does in a sense of monetization and management. Because Forsaken was, I think, largely developed by Vicarious Vision, which is now in the World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Cool. I got the hoverboard. Woo.
So it's just like...
that's the quest for the permanent one. But yeah, you got the temporary one.
Okay.
Yes, we got.
Cool. What do we do next?
You want to go try it out?
Sure. Well, I mean, like, how do I quest it so I get to keep it?
Yeah, go read the quest real quick. There's 3 ways of doing it. You grind out the metals,
Okay.
which is the long and hard process because you got to keep going and repeating on doing it. Earn the top 10% of the Nightfall challenges,
Mhm.
or open 3 focus activity packages, but that's a time-based deal. Away from
Is the hoverboard a permanent edition, or is that just a season?
if you grind out the permanent one, it is a permanent edition, or you can buy it from the cash shop. But the one
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Oh, there you go.
free,
How much is the cash shop one?
the cash shop one's like $25.
Oh, it always comes down. It always comes
No,
around full
thank
circle
you.
with Bungie, doesn't it? It
Whoa.
always leads
Oh,
back
crap.
to the cash.
All right. Crash is with us.
Bit rich.
Oh, it always leads back to the cash shop.
Good lord, man.
So for the class matching standard matchmaking, but we got 3 for the Nightfall.
So it sticks around till Guardian Games ends. I never even got the idea of Guardian Games because everybody just wanted SRL back. They just wanted Sparrow Racing League back. And they kept saying, oh, well, we can't produce the maps for it and things like this. But I'm like, your maps in your open world are literally designed for sparrows. Just add racing like World of Warcraft did with Dragonflight.
The cash shop one's part of a bundle. Can be only that
It can
bundle.
only be gotten in that bundle. That's interesting. Dude, dogfights with your ships.
Look,
Yeah.
I spent way much more money than $25 trying to chase the stupid horn in Destiny 1. So
Did you?
like, I think I spent like 100, maybe 200 chasing that damn horn. I never got it. Never got that damn horn.
I remember criticism from the first Angry Joe review done on this. And dog fights in your ship brought up, and he did it again in Destiny 2, and it's always been a missed opportunity for them.
Wait, Galahorn, but okay, you sold me on. I'm tempted to reinstall Destiny 2 just to buy that bundle.
Did you
Bungie.
buy the Wrath of the Machine version of Galahorn? Because they brought it back in E3.
By the way, I still have a box of old codes that probably don't work anymore. Where is it?
I have
don't think-
I have all the content, so it's like
I got Galahorn in the first Destiny. That's like good. To where? I remember week 1 Galahorn was on Zur, and nobody bought it.
You know, Destiny 1.
yeah.
I have some limited edition boxes that you can't get anymore. The boxes are damaged now, they're not great, but still. We got an Iron Sigil keyring, art cards, Iron Galahorn, and Iron Galahorn Sparrow. It was a limited edition bonus content.
That's good.
I have boxes of them.
No, I deleted my so I played Destiny on my original PSN account, and then I linked that via the cross save and moved over to Steam. And then I didn't play my PlayStation for about 7 years. And then I decided to go back to PlayStation when the issues with the GPUs were happening last year with PC.
Yeah, couldn't get them.
It wasn't just
silicon.
It wasn't just that. It was just price,
Yeah.
and it's still the same issue.
I remember I bought my
And then-
PC and I had to wait felt like 4 months to get it.
Yeah, and it was the memory issue 12 cards, so even if I wanted a budget card, it would just not have enough memory because it was all 8
That's the
gigabytes. And
issue
then,
with UK PC there, because a lot of the PC prices in the UK suck.
oh yeah.
Because they're like,
do you want to
they're
know
like,
something
okay,
interesting?
it's $700 in America. Man, what should we price it in England? Let's price it
So-
800.
I have 4 years of experience dealing with pricing with PC parts, right? And from the actual vendors, the manufacturers. So I know how much they actually cost to build these things. And Alienware is the most overpriced tard you will ever get.
Yeah.
If anyone's buying a Dell machine, just get the precision range. It's a workstation range. It has more flexibility. The chassis is better. They use the chassis for the bigger alien units. You know, you can fit three to four graphics cards in it. You know, it's just more flexible. The Alienwares are very stuck. They're very you can only get that configuration, and it never used to be that way. At the very beginning, I had full control to build PCs for people, and then by my 4th year, it was you just had zero control over it. And it was very annoying because when I was working at Dell, you would always try to get the customer the best price by removing all the crap off it, and then by the 4th year, you just couldn't do that anymore. No, it became very transactional. But yeah, no, just get the workstations. They're much better. The chassis is not as pretty, but it's a lot more utilitarian for you, and it's going to be a lot more reusable. But when I was dealing with laptop, the best price I could get a school, and because schools don't have to pay tax and things like that, would be around £500 to £600 for a 15-inch. And that's an i5 specification, i5 8 gigabytes, you know, 256 SSD. And that didn't really change when it raised up to 16 because RAM's very cheap. But when you got to desktops, it was about 1200 for an i5, and then that was budget GPUs.
Oh, that's awesome. Gray says that they got Gallahorn from Zur for week 1 in Destiny 1 and didn't know how good it was until like later. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, most people hated on it when it first came out of Destiny 1. I remember it because I also...
It just became you couldn't get into a raid group without it.
Yeah.
I remember Corporatization, don't join if you don't have Gallahorn because they just pick him immediately.
Ryan, I just got some cool news. I just read.
Okay.
For Final Fantasy 14 fans, if this is true, I don't know. Well, it says this is true, but I don't. It's a translation.
Right, somebody said Dragon's Dogma 2
translation.
is coming to GeForce now, and I believe it, but I'm like, we don't have an official announcement. But okay,
Yeah,
what's the good news?
This is a translation from Japanese to English, so remember that because this is a translation, things can vary, and if it's not accurate, I can't guarantee.
Okay.
But supposedly this Yoshi says we're working on a system where you can skip up to 6.0 and see the stories and settings in game, and we're preparing for new players to start the adventures from 6.1.
Nice.
How's that going
That's
to work?
that's what I was kind of thinking and hoping for, is that they were going to probably skip around to where
like
you could actually be just...
if you
My
make
question
all
then
of the base, you know, that Highland Zodiac Saga, like you have to play it before you can play the new stuff, is like, that is such an ask. You know?
Yeah.
My main question then is how are they going to how are they going to, in a sense, fill that black hole now in their store?
What do you mean?
Because they've just taken out the story skips.
Well, maybe
They're designing.
maybe the
and that's
system is
what's
a bot system that happens. I don't know.
Yeah, because it's.
Well, maybe they just realize that they don't sell enough for it to matter.
That's true. Maybe. I think it is listed as one of the bigger selling items, along with the.
I believe it's £20 on our end.
Well,
Yeah, but it might be £20. But if more people
The
are buying
number one
than
bot
story
thing
skip,
on the Mog Station is Fantasia's.
Yeah,
Fantasia.
Fantasia.
I hate the concept of Fantasia.
they'll still be able to sell their job skips, so you'll still have job level up.
I guess. For me,
Well,
Fantasia,
they
I'm
can
just like,
still
why
sell the
does this
story
exist?
skips, like if you just wanted to skip ARR and go right into Heavensward.
Yeah.
Yeah, just don't do it. What a lot of people do if you buy class power-ups off the store. Don't do what most people do. When you go buy Summoner, don't go buy Scholar as well.
Yeah.
Just go pick up the Job Crystal.
Well, I will say, unless you're a whale, in which case I'd say do it anyway.
Every time like whale talk is like, I always think humpback whales.
You know you
because,
can
like,
actually
remember,
get...
you get
Like Finding Nemo.
equipment because you get equipment and gil for buying job skips. So if you're a
Pay
massive
to win.
whale,
Pay to win.
I remember
buy
Yoshi
the
P said...
Scholar and Summoner,
Yeah.
and that would give you what, 500,000 because they give
Yeah,
you
it's 500,000.
50K each.
I remember Yoshi P said if you're buying class skip to get the guild, please don't. It's really inefficient. And he was
I've
begging
done it for
people
a
not
laugh.
to do it.
I've done it HCP.
The only job I skipped was Black Mage because early Black Mage is terrible.
I bought the, what was it when I did, because some friends were doing a Euchre from the start.
I like
so
that
just
it's giving
bought-
us like
Watch those
little
snipers.
medals and stuff. Like it feels like a PvP, but in PvE.
Are you guys?
Grace says, if it Destiny will be in bare hands if Sony takes over.
I
No.
do.
Yeah, we're doing the night
Man,
12.
I don't know.
No,
Oh, what up, Crash?
because Sony. Fun fact: Sony doesn't want to take over. They bought it because they were hoping that Bungie would take over their stuff, not the other way round. Like
From
they were hoping that they bought Bungie so that they could get the experience and advice from Bungie, not so that they can then give Bungie experience and advice. Like people seem to think that
Part of
Sony
Jim
wants
Ryan's
to-
thing.
See, here's the thing. Bungie was good. From my perspective, Bungie was only good when they had someone to keep them on task.
Yeah.
And it's when they've gone independent, they've never really managed to properly manage a project sustainably. So from my perspective, I hope that fear of Sony taking over is what keeps them focused on target.
Yeah.
What was
Stay
the
on target.
executive? What was the
Stay
executive?
on target.
Like their finances are garbage or whatever.
Yeah, they're going bankrupt.
Yeah.
And it's just like, hopefully that structure will allow them to be more, they won't have to worry as much about the services and finance side of the business. And they can focus on what we all want, which is the game development, rather than, them worrying about where the money's going to come from.
Yeah.
Because they made Halo, it's the same attitude they have from Halo, effectively. When Microsoft was there, and then, they went over to Activision. It was Destiny 1's start. Destiny 1 was a failure. It was going to fail at Top Vault of Glass, and that saved it.
Yeah.
And
By the way, I've been telling everyone that they would be adding a skip eventually to 14, especially with 7. I said that I feel like with 7.0, it would be better if they had a skip and then just have people do New Game Plus if they want to.
Yeah, you got New Game Plus. It's such a smart system for that. It's like, all right, cool.
Sure.
Yeah.
it's what I wish World of
Get back
Warcraft
in.
would do. It's like,
Can do all of it. I skipped Shadowbringers.
World of Warcraft has Chromie Time, and I'm like, just call Chromie Time like Chronicle, and just make it a New Game Plus thing. And you can just go and reuse all the older zones. Just have phasing depending on the chapter you want to play through. And just do it that way, but it's like the New Game Plus idea for MMOs, especially story-driven.
Like, just have it so there's an NPC in Oldar, Sandoria, the Fancy 11, Oldar, Limsa, and Gridania. And
This
then
might be
when
a
you go
fun gun
then
to
you-
pair with the like constant reload me while I'm,
I agree.
How is the crafting system working now in Destiny? Is it any better?
I don't know, man. I just
Give me a minute.
I'll take that as a no.
No.
I don't know. There's more takes on it than there used to be. Like, there was a minute where all the elitist people were just mad. They're like, my
I'm
checklist to
down.
do things is so long. I have given myself so much work.
elitist people
I love the. I
being
love-
mad.
I know. Well, Destiny's full of them.
Well, it's why
They're
it's fine.
fresh.
Wasn't it why fixed roles in Destiny 2 originally were there? Was to basically say once you've got the gun, it's done. But that removed the loot grind for it. I assume crafting was the very same thing. Where it's like you do your season, you get unlock the seasonal weapons, and then you just go to craft your perfect god roll.
Not necessarily. I'll go live on Discord and just show you because it's easier to
Alright, sure.
explain.
Oh, dad gummit. Right in the face. Tavenir says, I don't think that Sony will manage D2, but Bungie will still develop it. It may see a disconnect of narrative and patch content if managers don't meet expectations. I wonder what ultimately will happen there. Like, it's going to be interesting to see how Final Shape is received, because I did not like Lightfall. I was like, alright.
It's a very odd expansion. So I just felt disconnect. That's like, I actually enjoyed the setting. I just didn't enjoy, that it's like, again, it's like 6 story missions. Something that is just not enough. I had the same issue with Diablo 4. I just didn't think the story was that meaty in a sense of content.
No, Diablo 4 story was not great. It didn't give me a reason to care.
I liked it more than D3, honestly. Not Reaper of Souls. Reaper of Souls was better than both.
Well, when somebody said, it's going to have chapters, I thought, oh, chapters! It's going to have actual chapters! And then it turns out a chapter is a story mission. And I went,
I still haven't beaten D4 yet.
I actually think the final fight is really good. I really like that final boss fight.
What, with Lilith? Yeah, I heard the final fight is good, but I didn't stop playing because I got bored and I just didn't care about those. Like, let Lilith do her thing.
It does taper off after a specific level.
If Diablo 4 had trials, I would do them more than 14.
I wish I had more like singular, like, yeah, trial fights, but also I think I just wish they would stop seasonal nonsense, because if this is the casual ARPG, then seasons contradict being casual, because it takes 80 hours to level that battle pass on average.
Oh yeah.
With all these new games, it's not worth it. I am seeing it, mate.
Oh yeah. You're 100% right, because it's
have-
and the healthier thing is to play other games as opposed to just like, this is the only game I play. But go ahead, Chili, you're gonna say something.
So you still have to level.
Before I go, do you mind if I plug myself?
Okay.
I don't mind at all, sir. Tell people where they can find you, Chili.
Because I'm going to head off soon because I'm getting sleepy.
I get you.
Yeah. You can find me on twitch.tv/MuggleGuy Radio, where we've been streaming Fantasy 7 Rebirth. Thank you again to Square Enix for providing the code. I still can't believe that they gave me a free code to play the game. So that was really nice of them. Thank you to Square Enix. But if you can't catch us live, I'm also uploading our footage onto YouTube. Part 1 went live last week. Part 2 will be going live today. I've actually got thumbnails and stuff like that made for it for once. So we've actually got different thumbnails coming out. Part 2 will be live at sometime today. There's no spoilers in the thumbnails, no spoilers in the titles. It's just, I'm calling them Fantasy 7 Rebirth, and then something that's like, there's one that just says this is the Grasslands Chapter 2. Like, it's as spoiler free as possible.
That's good.
So yeah, we'll be uploading it on YouTube, and if we reach 100 subscribers on YouTube, I'm gonna try and do a crafting and gathering guide for Fantasy 14. Because if anyone knows me, I am the worst crafting and gatherer that exists. So I want to make a guide for a laugh just to see how people respond. But we have to reach 100 subscribers by the end of the month. By the end of March, I've said.
I'll subscribe to you.
By the end of the March.
And I'll have
we're
Chili. Let me actually get Chili tagged in the description of this on the YouTube side.
Yeah.
Do you still have to go to Mars to craft?
Yep.
Yes.
That's insane.
They have like basically fixed a lot of the values, so like I can go into my favorite shotgun whenever I want and just change it up.
Do you still need the currency for the red border?
You don't need the resonance currency, you just need to have it leveled.
Okay.
So like level 17, you've got everything.
Yeah, thank you,
like,
Brian,
if I
for allowing me to do
change
that.
2 of these
Yeah, and I got,
to
you
enhanced
tagged.
ones. That's the cost of changing 2 of the masterworked ones.
Oh, okay, so they've also simplified the currency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they've learned their lesson on
Ooh, yes,
too many
Gray.
currencies.
Yeah.
Yes, Gray. Dragon's
What's,
Dogma
what's
2,
in-
baby.
What's enhancement for some drop rates? Because they were pretty stingy.
They're still relatively stingy unless you're doing Legend Nightfalls or Legend Lost Sectors.
Okay.
And Legend Lost Sectors don't power scale like the rest of the game, so they're actually
Yeah.
really easy to
Are
farm.
they still banning certain exotics?
Are they what?
Are they still banning select exotics on them? Because I know with the champions, you have champion people to use the champion mods, but they were just using like Arbalest like this to
So
get
you
through the
still
champions.
have your normal champion mods in the first row of the artifact, but to be honest, most every single, also all of the elements have a different way to do champions, whether you have the mod or not.
Okay. Have they added the stasis element in yet for enemies?
Yeah. Or like my favorite bow, it just has unstoppable built in.
Yeah.
So if I want unstoppable, I know I can take this and still do good damage.
No, it's because when I think it was before I quite I think it's Ariana's Vow, which is the hand cannon.
For a long time,
Yeah, didn't they end up taking it off the what you're effectively allowed to take in to lost sectors? Because it was
real quick,
They
I'm
don't
gonna
do that anymore.
Go ahead, Mike.
real quick. I'm gonna bounce out. So Neon, you can join back up if you want. Cliff, Brian.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll help out.
Sweet.
I'll catch you guys all later.
Thanks, Mike.
Do
You have a good
some
night, dude.
See ya.
So I
You
don't
too.
just kill everything.
it does make me nostalgic seeing all this. I'm not gonna lie, and it's the problem with Destiny is it's such a comfy game.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
Anyway,
it feels
thank you,
so
Brian,
fun.
for that. I'm going to head off.
I've only ever missed
Guess
one
I'm
season.
gonna-
Good
dude.
night, everyone.
Good night. Good night.
Good night.
Night, mate. Destiny's
I've
such
only
a
ever
comfy
missed
game.
one season of this game, and I'm glad I did.
My problem with seasons is I always want the cosmetics. So it's just like, and it was the biggest problem with Diablo is that I'd play a season and then I'd get like halfway through the season of Diablo. It's like I don't want to play this anymore. But I don't have the cosmetics yet, you know. So you end up with like half a cosmetic set, and it's just like, well, now I've got a game with half a cosmetic set in it.
Mhm.
And it's a bit OCD, but you know, it just doesn't make me want to open up my transmog wardrobe anymore. Because it's just like, well, I've got a hat like the boots and the bottoms, but I don't have the top and the gloves.
Wishing all the best. It says I need to complete blind well runs in the Dreaming City. Higher tier.
Oh yeah, you can. It's a queuable activity now.
Okay. Do we want to do that?
Yeah, I'm down. That's always chaotic.
I like the chaos. This is the blind well public event.
Yeah, congrats on your solo.
Hmm?
Congrats on your solo
have
clear
they
of that
innovated
dungeon,
on the
Neon.
blind well at all?
Pretty dope.
Oh, Nan, you got a solo clear?
Yeah, that was. Yeah,
That's awesome.
it was yesterday. Gosh, that hurt my brain just thinking about it.
Have they innovated on the gameplay loop of the blind well at all, or is it still the same bubble to bubble?
It's still basically the same, but everyone just does max difficulty always anyway, and it's a 6-man activity, so it's
Okay.
honestly it's just killing stuff. It's just good.
Mhm.
What's up,
It's
Screw?
spray and pray. It's good. Which I think is nice for them to sometimes have the activities, because the last 2 seasons had roguelite activities that can
Oh, wow.
be stupid hard.
Welcome to the
What was the one which had the fishing?
Right, with the
That was
prime
Season of the Deep,
sub.
yeah.
Thank you, the Screw, dropping 13 months. 1 year plus 1. Thank you. Let's add it to our totals. Let's see
Is the
here.
fishing still around?
Yeah, you
I
can
do
still
not
go
know.
fish wherever you want,
You still fish?
19. We are close.
because you can deposit them at the helm for rewards. Yeah. you can
Okay.
fish. Oh, actually, there's a whole exotic quest I forgot about that involves us fishing. Yeah.
Because is the fishing just that? Just like a bounty?
Oh, I remember this event.
Yes, type of thing.
This is nice that it's cubable.
Kind
Is there no
have to
like
wait for
crafting
it?
element to that?
You still have to activate.
There we go.
Okay, gotcha.
And then stay in the bubble. Bubble.
And the bubble. Yeah. Yo, what it do, man? It's good, man. Let's
Get out of my rock, boy.
what's y'all's favorite? What's y'all's favorite enemy type in the game? Ooh.
Honestly, I really like the Tormentors because they're kind of like a multi-stage crit spot.
For me, it's always the popping the heads off the dregs with a hand cannon. Yeah, it just goes. Whoosh. I don't know who it was. I think it was on one of your live streams, Brian. Somebody said that the language should be baked in effectively. Like no matter how many times they come back into the game, they always know where the enemy's critical spot is.
That guy just.
I think it was Lono who said that.
Yeah. The thing is like Destiny is such a great, fun experience, and it's like all the BS that just like it just wears on you, and you're like, all right.
Thing is, I think if they were just slightly more generous, it would be people would be a lot more forgiving.
Oh, I was gonna change spec. That's right.
Ooh, Slavner says Taken.
Mm.
I like the Taken. They meant a lot, especially as the Taken King dropped, and it was like just a real breath of fresh air in Destiny 1. And then I think essentially I have to say I really like the hype.
Yeah.
They're I feel like always a threat, you know, visibly like, you know, like what's the bad guy, you know?
It's weird. I remember the aesthetic change for the Hive from B1 to D2 and just hating it. I was like, why did they change them? B1 Hive were so intimidating. You know, it genuinely felt like a horror.
Yeah.
They were a lot more grotesque.
Yep.
But I love the aesthetic Cabal in D2. Like D2 Cabal, like Regal.
I feel like the Vex are constantly not represented as threats. They're just like occasionally pop in with a whatever, and then it's like, all right, simulation complete.
Yeah, it's like if you have like a Matrix type enemy, you know the splids from the Matrix that are just burning. Oh, that'd be so much. You know, you could, you know, horror, that technical horror aspect to it. Yeah, the Vex are just wasted.
I'm glad I'm not alone in thinking that, because I'm just like, all right, like, and then you're like, Brian, you clearly haven't done this. I was like, I've played all the MSQ.
Well, there's a body horror aspect, because if you effectively, I think in the game, the common term is Vex milk.
Vex milk, yeah. And we were just fighting with the Vex milk around us, yeah.
Yeah, it's like if that touches you, they'll convert your arm into a Vex part. If it touches any part of your body, you're kind of screwed. And it's like the body horror you could have like that. Like imagine like the Vex plant a Vex bomb in the city.
Yeah.
You know, that goes off. It's a dirty bomb. Like a large sector of the city's infected. Then you have to do like an extraction shooter type activity.
Yeah.
You know, something like that. You know.
Oh man, like the potential for some like modes and content in this game are like to the point where it's like, yeah, like honestly, you know, I know like people kind of have battle royale fatigue, but I'm like, just make something, guys. Like Gambit ain't it.
The city's such wasted for me because I always wanted like a housing in the city or like a PlayStation Home type piece of content in the city where people can just socialize, just chat with each other with their avatars. And I think that the social aspect of Destiny is something for an MMO, as it's considered, was always missing. I know that's not everybody's cup, because obviously, a lot of the community just wants to do the raids, they just want to do PvP.
Yeah. Well, everybody kind of has their thing, and then they think that's the be-all, end-all. Like, oh, my thing is the best thing.
I always thought, like, the social, the sacred space, as in a sense, called that place where you all come together and talk, and mix and is always important for me. Because it's where you make friends, it's where, you know, you value the relationships more that you have, and that's what keeps you in the game longer. But I think that burnout of wanting the game to be something that it's not is always going to be a persistent problem for
That's what I
MMOs.
get. That's where I get frustrated at 14. I'm like,
Yeah.
I wanted to have more of the MMO, and then it's like,
Yeah.
it was like, oh, but people don't want that. And it's like, I get that. I get it. Like, I understand it, but the heart still wants what it wants. Like, I wish every job in Final Fantasy 14 had a limited version of itself, because the limited system is so fun and interesting. And like, I would love a summoner thing that you have to go like farm and be able to get the summons, you know?
You know, just on that point, I wish, like with 14, they would just do 4 or 5 zones, like WoW, but there were more exploratory zones, and the story was just self-contained in those zones, rather than 20 ATB zones. And, you know, it had more, it had diadem like crafting, things like this. You know, just take all the little pieces from each expansion and just, you know, roll it up into a nice package. Because the tech's there. You know, and that can create an MMO like experience where people can have that, you know, MMO aspect, but also have the story aspect. Gambit people, yeah, Gambit was wasted potential as well. I really enjoyed the PPX experience of Gambit.
I like Gambit. That was like my favorite concept.
So much.
I like it, but it was like, it just isn't what I think people are wanting. Something like, when you look at extraction shooters and something like, there's so much interesting things happening that are not in the arena, you know? And it's like, that's the thing, the same thing with Halo. It's like, guys, like, I get that we all liked arena back when we were on the Xbox 360, but those days have come and gone. People are like wanting different, you know, like big open modes that, you know, I don't know, like, I was like, yeah, I would play. I like Call of Duty's like DMZ zone mode. There's some fun things going on. I should go play that.
In Division 2, they have that like really small scale extraction thing that they've been doing for years, and it's super simple, and I love it.
How do the red zones in Division? Is it a dark zone? Is that it?
Yeah.
Because isn't that like the wilderness at RuneScape? How it used to be classic, like you know, you go in and die.
Walk out and
your stuff.
there's a sign, and if you pass that sign, it says, "Hey man, other people are gonna get you."
Other people are gonna
Like,
mark.
Yeah.
I think the biggest problem with Gambit is that it's considered a separate game mode rather than just being a part of Crucible.
Yeah.
You know, it should have just been something like Elimination, rather than, oh, it's this separate thing.
I mean,
You know.
yeah. Gambit for me was a lot of fun.
Yeah, Gambit's fun. I like the concept of what they have, but then they took out maps. It felt like it was an unsupported mode. All right.
Again, it's that weird thing. Where's the maps? I feel like they're lacking server space. It's like, where's your map server? Just why isn't this on a rotation?
Same thing with the PvP maps. It's like so many, like,
Yeah.
all right, guys, low hanging fruit. Let's go.
But it's
You know,
like
and then
four years,
Destiny
but
doesn't
it's only
have
one.
like a customs, you know, kind of community where like Halo, like Halo lets you progress your battle pass in custom games. It's not efficient by any means, but it doesn't need to be efficient. It just needs to not punish you for wanting to play customs with your friends.
It's the game meeting you where you're at.
Right.
You know, and not being able to control how you play the game is so bad. Because it just, again, it's like, it's the stigma of MMO forcing you to do content you don't want to do.
Right. Oh, have you
to
tried
get
all this
something
other
that you
stuff?
need.
Like, yeah, I'm not really enjoying it. Like, oh, okay.
MMOs are just that special game, you know, it's the dream of games, you know, it's that constant, in a sense, metaverse world where you can do everything, speak to everyone, and you get a reputation, you know, it's why Ashes of Creation's become so popular. It's almost like a myth at this
Well, the thing is that the best MMO is the MMO that's unreleased. So, with Ashes, with any of it, it's like as soon as it becomes
I remember.
everybody can play it, then everybody's gonna be like, oh, this ain't it, or people who like it are going to like it, but like, and I'm in on the next beta or alpha. I'm in alpha too, so like
Nice.
I'm looking forward to playing Ashes of Creation. I'm also I love PAX Day. PAX Day is a lot of fun, very refreshing game, but also a sandbox MMORPG with persistence. You know, like it's got stuff that I'm like, yes, it sounds great on paper, but I know there's going to be so many people whining and crying about it, and it's just going to like, and then they're going to be like, see, no one's playing it. But I think they're doing something really smart. They're launching it into early access, and I think that's going to end up helping out dramatically, so that the community can kind of get set, and people aren't expecting like, oh, MMO launch, 1 million players are playing it, you know, and it's like now. You know, after a month, like, you know, 100,000 concurrent, which is an incredible feat. Like, which is incredible. People are like, oh, it's, you know, it's like it lost this percentage of players. Every MMO loses a massive percentage of players. Like everyone.
I'm excited for the drop off after final shape. Honestly.
Yeah. Have you noticed this though?
Peace and quiet with my destiny.
Yeah. Have you noticed it? No, it's that the entire community has gone through a maturity on these issues, because we never used to have these conversations of, oh, you know, this game's got 800,000 players, now it's got 100,000. We never used to have these conversations. You know, it seems like the only other game I've seen ever have this was World of Warcraft, and that's when it, you know, everybody's like, it hit 12 million, but it's like, in traditional MMOs, you were lucky if you had 75,000 people.
Yeah.
The original WoW servers were only 2,000 people.
I think what happened was WoW started hemorrhaging players, and that's when the conversation started to take place. Well, what player base?
And MMOs stopped promoting those numbers, because then people are like, oh, the numbers are going down, we need to stop playing. So people go to Steam charts. So it's like, oh, and they try to use that to beat up on the game, which is just the weirdest thing, because if you're like, oh, I want more MMOs so that I can root for their demise, like, oh my gosh, come on, guys. Like, the disappointment this week is that the New World Season 5 is delayed, and I'm getting some feedback, just heads up. And with Season 5, like, we get the native controller support. They've already got the matchmaking in place. Like, it's going to be a hell of a good time, guys. We're going to, people are coming in and joining the company. I'm like, hey, when Season 5 drops, we're going to be really active, you know, in the game. So just heads up. Yeah, negativity, absolutely, Shadow. Negativity gets views, and views equals money. And we all know that these things are operating on us, but we can't resist. Like I that video that popped up that I did a react to, it's like, I quit Destiny. It's like, oh, let me find out why.
Again, it's why sequels are so important, because you said it correctly. It's the game inviting me back in. And I'm sat here going, well, WoW's 20 years old. Sure, Destiny's approaching 10. Diablo 4 is meant to be a 10-year experience. Maybe it's time for sequels on all of these franchises. Not just in a sense of getting that better technology, updating those systems, removing the baggage, giving everybody a fresh
imagine
start.
what a WoW 2 could do, right? Like, you're all of a sudden saying, hey, all this new technology and the ways that we approach the game, we don't have to worry about like supporting like decisions that were made by people who are no longer here. It's like, all right, well, let's go, guys.
New game, new era.
But it could still be another 20-year game, and like how you have WoW Classic, you could have what's WoW Retail. Technically, I would say it would be WoW 3. You know,
I think games should probably 10 years is enough for games. I think, you know, that's life-changing for people's 10 years. You know, I mean, they were talking about the World of Soul Saga. It's like, we don't want your grand to be. And it's just like that. Yeah, that's true though. You know. 10 years time, I'll be like 36.
So we need more line well runs. Do we re-queue it from here, or do we have to go in and out?
No, I'll just get it going. Let's lay out.
All right,
get it.
Well, that doesn't run a wristwatch, isn't WoW.
I think I have one person left, but someone else will queue in, I'm sure.
Cool.
I don't think WoW would ever be in Unreal Engine 5, mainly because of the revenue share. And I don't think that's why it's on Steam. Also, because I don't think they want the numbers on Steam.
PAX Day is in Unreal 5. Multiverses is now in Unreal 5.
I just don't see Blizzard ever taking it to Unreal 5.
I don't know, maybe not. If they don't need to, they don't need to. Then
No, it's. I just don't know how they're going to do it. I would love World of Warcraft, honestly. I think it's such a missed opportunity. But again, you've got the add-on opportunity.
Oh my god.
Also, to the art style, right?
I'm not sure who said it, and I think someone said the WoW art style hadn't really aged well, and I'm like, Shadowlands was looking pretty good.
yeah, I think I think
good.
they confused the looks with the artistic direction. Like the art style is held up and allowed them to deliver, you know, and they have a massive game. It's not my personal preference, but I'm like, I'm not gonna knock the art style.
I just wish the character models were more fluid,
Yeah.
and they had a more modern emote system. Because it feels like sometimes you're moving a plank of wood around the game.
Well, things feel floaty.
Yeah.
Like, people are like, oh my god, the combat feels so good. And I was like, I don't know, I never thought the combat felt particularly pleasing.
WoW
I
that
think
doesn't
when they
run
mean
on a
that
wristwatches in a WoW.
I'm on that.
I think when they mean that, they mean it's
Wow,
responsive.
it's so good.
I think they just mean it's the response. It's like the same with Diablo. Like Diablo's not effectively a very combat heavy game in a sense because it's simple, but it's responsive. It's very quick. And I think that was one of the major issues between FF14's GCD being so long as it was, is because it wasn't quick. It relied a lot more. It wasn't as fast because it's an action game with a taskbar.
Even that, like, FF14, you have your animations, your attacks have wind-ups, right?
Yeah.
They have animations built into them, whereas WoW is just like you hit the button and you just smack the dude, like, with your sword instantly.
Yeah, it's why I think the combat feels so bad. It's because it's not that responsive.
Right.
Yeah.
WoW is definitely way more on the responsive side.
Yeah. No, it's just like ESO. I think would be better if it was a lot more responsive because I've noticed a lot more, mainly from the WoW side. Like WoW's starting to get up on the button number area, but it's still not that. It's like 5 to 6 GCDs, and everybody's like the button bolt, and I'm like, do these people just want MOBAs in terms of MOBA combat? Because I've seen that in ESO in terms of, you've got effectively a taskbar, but you've got 2 weapons. And I've seen a lot of people in Final Fantasy say they want the PvP, just combat to beat combat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there seems to be 2 different communities here. And they both have different preferences, which isn't wrong, but it's like, if you want that traditional MMO experience, having some dead buttons aren't an issue because they're for niche scenario. And it's about having that player knowledge of when to use those buttons for those niche scenarios. Like, you don't have to have them on your taskbar 100% of the time taking expose. They can stay in the spellbook. And yeah, it's just weird. December expanding my...
What is that?
My MMO.
Oh, no, I'm just reading the comment from Staffer.
Staffner said he just started WoW this December.
Yeah.
From
I really like how it is right now, honestly.
It's in a good spot.
Yeah, Dragonflight's been good, and it ended more remote than it started, which is...
I have been seeing some drama with the hero talent stuff around the expectations that have been set, because again, it's what players want versus what players are getting. Everybody wants class skins. Again, it's because
the thing right now is people need to chill. It's just talents.
It's the weird thing though, it's the Covenant issue of player power being meaningful, and that's true. But also people not wanting player power to change because it means the classes are going to feel worse.
I hear Season of Discovery, people having a lot of fun with that.
Yeah. It's
lore that's relevant to the live game, which is fun for me.
I don't think a lot of the classic players in that though. Like, from what I see, a lot of the classic players, they just want to have their own B thing, their own B bubble, and their own B alternative. You know, and if they want Classic Plus, they want that to have no association with the main timeline. Because, again, the main timeline has a stigma for a lot of these people because of all the history and baggage. But it's just like, retail is always going to be more popular. It's the game which has a future in a sense. But if they manage to...
The nice thing about Classic is it just exists. Like, it can have new stuff like they're trying, or it can not. It's still a success without it.
Yeah.
I've seen it. Like,
I'll probably...
really cool for a while because it was just such a downward spiral for so long.
I'd actually ask this to Saki because they don't really need to begin. How do you feel about Evoker? Because when that released, it was very controversial that it was a class race. That Evoker was a class race mix, and it was Evoker could only be for. Yeah, I think it's fine as well. I would actually like to see more of it.
So, like, I don't know. I play for combat reasons and like achievement reasons. I want to get in, have fun with the raid, do the story, get out. You know, like a month, 2 months off between patches for me because I'm doing other stuff.
The ogre's fun. I was hanging out with the ogre's fun.
Evoker is a really cool spec. And
for me, I always
it's like special to dragons. Have never played MMO before. It's the first expansion.
Maybe I always treated it like an RPG though.
Later, I don't know.
Yeah, I always treated it like an RPG. Like it was an extra flavor to play the world in. And this is
the problem with only certain classes or specs being able to do paladins and holy light stuff, and then some can't. I don't find the problem with that.
I don't find the problem with that either. I think it adds depth to the world because of the culture. But it's like, if you, that's why I like the ally race for. It's just like, if you want to add like Minari, Eridar, that can be Warlock, go do that. But keep it separate from the, you know, from the current races. That's why I like that racing. And it's like, but again, it gets like, why can't we have, you know, it's like people really want that class depth, that character depth, and more depth to it. And yeah, it's just, it's, why am I'm a tad shamed with FF saying we'll never get another one. Yeah.
We're struggling.
So how far along in it are you?
We're the final thing here. After this, well, I'm gonna raid over into the members only writers room. I'm gonna be doing some writing on thinking through some game design stuff. So as a heads up, anybody who wants to hang out, they can. And that means like, and if you're on if you're a supporter over on Twitch, you can still come hang out in the members lounge.
Okay.
Like, yeah, like my plan for 2024 is I'm gonna go do stand up every other Monday, and then every other Monday trying to get a, you know, stream, some game time, and then some, you know, some focus on the game development.
How is the stand up going?
Going good. It's going really good. Actually, I have to let them know I'm not gonna be able to make the show on the 17th. Because I got my niece is graduating from high school, so.
Oh wow.
Yep, we're gonna go celebrate.
How is that celebrated in America? Because like I always see it in the media, but in Scotland nobody cared if you graduate high school. It's not really an achievement for us. Like it's, oh great, I'm out of school now. I can go live my life. But I finished high school in Singapore, and they tried to do a prom thing. It was all very. But we all just ended up going to McDonald's.
I would say it's kind of an old money tradition that just persists throughout all classes. It's kind of like a celebration of like, cool, now you're an adult. Now you can go learn for real.
Yeah.
Because of like the general expectation, you'll go to college, this and that. Which the problem, it's more like... It's more problematic, I think, than a lot of people realize internationally, just because we have such a broad country, like being as and populous as we are, with the actual sheer number of people trying to go through who
like 4 or 5
won't make
in terms of population.
Is it not built into your actual education system?
College?
Because university is go if you want to and pay for it if you're gonna go. And then like hopefully you can get grants and this and that.
Because for us, college and university are two separate things. You have college is what effectively you have your senior years. I think that's the last 2 years of high school, and you can take that as 6-month college, or you can actually go to a college go take a course. But that's free to everyone. Like at someone at age 45 can go to a college.
Right, so in the U.S., colleges and universities are effectively the same in terms of like...
University is like a collection of colleges.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
And in the UK, we would call those collegiate colleges. It's kind of like Oxford University. It's kind of like that. You know, it's a university, but it's got like 38 colleges with it.
Where do I take the relic?
And like for college,
that's
university is like really like a BFD.
What does it do?
I just threw it, and then I threw it into a wall, so I don't know.
Okay.
I have to admit though, I do admire, because I was like, you have Latin for everything. And I'm just sat there going like, I'm a summa cum laude, and I'm like, what the hell is this?
That's
It's just like, it's like brain melting.
like no one aside from like the actual summa cum laude and like no one except for like the top 3 people care about being the top 3 people in the university. Like that's not a thing.
Yeah, like what do you actually, and also what are you gonna do with that?
Like what does that actually like translate to in the real world? Not
Right? He's damageable.
not a
I feel
lot.
like the people who do that typically are planning on being CEOs of the other people who are actually using the degree they just got.
It's funny because in the UK we have a saying, what is it? The A students work for the B students, the B students work for the C students, and the C students work for the D students. Because all the CEOs, all the CEOs never went to university.
Well, the thing is, like, in order to be like that high, you really just have to like study a lot. Is my understanding, right? That could be just completely wrong. But like, I've never known people. Those people have never impressed me. It's just like, oh boy, you can study real hard and ace a test, BFD. Like,
I think the best result I ever got on a test.
Like, can you actually apply what you've used? No? Well, then don't talk to me.
Yeah. The best result I ever got on a test was a test I completely forgot was happening. And then I didn't even study for it, sat down and passed it. I was like, oh wow.
You were so relaxed. You're like, yeah, I got this.
Yeah.
YOLO. Sweet.
To be fair though, I almost completely missed my university exams for my final year. I ended up falling I was studying so hard before I fell asleep on the train on the way to the university, and I was halfway to London when I woke up. And then, because I thought, you know what, I studied today, and I'd get into the university at 6, study in the library for an extra 2 hours, then go and smash the test. No, I fell asleep. Had an hour to get back to the university before the exam started.
Do you want to do Star-Crossed?
All right, let's see here.
But I have to admit, I had the chance to redo my university. I wouldn't do it.
No,
it was such a waste of money. And
it's so expensive. It's so expensive.
It's expensive.
Student loans in the UK aren't really an issue because of how they're structured. It's kind of like a tax.
Oh, thank God.
But again, but the thing is, right? It's just that in Scotland it's free, and it's just like. And when I was working in the education system in the United Kingdom, the universities get grant money from the government. They're subsidized from the government. They own, hundreds of millions in assets that are technically publicly owned. So I'm like, why the hell are you paying ridiculous amounts of money for when you already pay them ridiculous amounts of money in your tax? And I assume the same is in America.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, tuitions are intense in America.
Because the whole premise is that you get somebody into a higher paying job, and then they pay higher taxes because they have a higher paying job. You're providing the skill set.
Right. And then you have people who go to these, 40, $60,000 a year schools, and they get like some shitty ass degree that
Yeah.
they can't do anything with.
Well, and that's they get baited and switched into that, so it's just like
Exactly.
I'm gonna set the next stream to private because I was like, it is almost 10:30, and I don't know about you guys, but holy crap, I feel burnt. I'm tired.
It's 3:30 for me,
Yeah,
so I'm gonna head
I was
off.
like, yeah, I'll sit down and play some Destiny 2, and then I'll go write, and then I'm like, I'll write tomorrow. So
Yeah,
I'll find a time to do the memory stream.
a couple hours.
Yeah, well, yeah, especially because like I know, thankfully we're on spring break this week, and that means that I don't have to get the kids to school, so they have a week to kind of adjust to the new time. But
Right.
it's just
Again, I think American media is poisoned my mind because spring break. I think of like you're all partying.
So yeah, that you know how that came about. Like there was basically a book of like there was these obviously well-to-do individuals. Like it was basically they'd go play house. So like the boys and the girls would all be hooking up, and then there was a professor who was like, oh, I'm gonna go write like a story. I'm gonna go study and see what this is. And he does that, and he publishes the book, and then all of a sudden, it's like everybody just wants to go and party, and have that kind of life. And that's I think I was listening to someone talking about that story as a specific example of like a mind virus, like like bulimia as a mind virus, where it wasn't until it was more publicly like talked about that all of a sudden starts infecting all these these girls. So it's just like, man, it's just wild.
It's weird because I'm always like, where did they get the money?
That is very much applicable to a lot of things today.
There's a lot of great examples that we could talk about that are going on right now, but
like
very
when I was
similar.
16, the only thing I had it was like the local church, and then that was kind of it in terms of what to do. Well, Sunday school. It's like I can't go to some beach somewhere, and get drunk and party and stay at like some weird resort for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
I never went on spring break. I just went in the backyard.
I played baseball in college, so spring break was always a week where I had to work my butt off and nobody was around because it was just the baseball team because everybody was gone. So it was like, I was like, oh, you what spring break? Okay, whatever. I don't know what that is.
No, the work
that's a week where we have less food because the cafeteria is closed and they give us like a $12 a day stipend.
Is that what you did?
Yeah.
Well, when we were teenagers, what would happen? The church in Scotland has something called the Boys Brigade, right? Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like Christian Scouts, and it's like 175 years old, almost 200 years old. And effectively, when you're that age, they expect you to take on more responsibility around the community. And Scottish towns and cities are really small, except for a few major ones. So you're talking like less than 75,000 people. Most are like 10,000 people.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And so if you're doing something around the community, you're not getting paid money. If you have to do a part-time job, you're basically getting lunch. And that's what you're effectively doing for food. You're going to go help out with the butchers. They'll give you some food. Mm-hmm. And then that's how they'll end up doing it. But it's like, there's not, you're getting it like an accreditation of Edinburgh and things like that.
Right.
For us. And that can go on your CV for your first job and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And it gets you a bit of work experience.
Mm-hmm.
But America seems to be a lot more, personal responsibility-esque. It's up to you to find out how to do stuff. There's no
and
real guidance.
that's the thing that I kind of try to always kind of harp on as well when people are asking me questions like, hey, because you guys ask like, what's my schedule and things like that. They're like, we could, people, I'll see a lot of people put a lot of time and energy and hope in a bucket of maybe this group of people will come together and we will all agree and the change will be made. And that can happen. And I never want anybody to not like have at least some energy and like, hey, some collective action that we can all get together and make the world a better place for, whatever our view is. But the best way that you can change your life is for you to change your life and actually become somebody who is in charge of you. So this is discipline. This is like, for me, like the biggest thing I see a lot that hurts a lot of people is just, especially when we talked about college with the student loans and the debt, like it prevents people from actually starting their lives. It is, and yes, they signed up for it, but oh my gosh, like, so
Brian, expecting people to take responsibility in this day and age.
No, but that's the thing that I think a lot of people need to hear very clearly and take on, because they're gonna wait. They're gonna just become bitter old people who are like, I was waiting for the government or this whatever, or the heck, even like from a Catholic perspective, I was waiting for the church to get together and do this. It's like, okay, or I can just do my thing and do my thing the best way that I know how to, and find people who are successful and figure out what they did.
People keep blaming their own problems on outside sources, and it's just like, dude, the only one who can control your life is you. Do something to change it.
Well, people can actively mess with you, but like the way you react to that is all on you. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
so do you guys know the actual? So you know how there's a lot of this communal stuff, especially with economics. Do you guys actually know how capitalism actually came about in terms of the personal responsibility aspect?
No, I mean, maybe not.
This is a Scottish tradition, because it was invented in the Scottish Highlands. And if you wanted something, you would have to barter with someone else and physically do it yourself. And if you broke your word or anything like that, you're on your own. The community aspect would not help you. Mm-hmm. You're left out in the cold. And it's just like everything you do is personally on you. And they were very brutal about that. Like, you were not, given any delusions. It's like, it doesn't matter if you don't fully understand. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. It's on you.
Right.
Like, that's your problem. And it sounds a bit too horrible with it, but there was just no mercy with it. And all those people got booted over to America. So I feel like we had a massive brain drain.
Something Smith, right, was the first guy to pen stuff about fair free market.
Yeah, he was really not happy with the king.
Yeah. Well, and that's like, I look in the MMOs, like having the ability for economics to help incentivize like people. It's like, it's like, I see a lot of people complain about capitalism, and yes, capitalism can be just as bad as any other system out there if it doesn't have kind of a moral compass, a moral authority to it. But it is also at least so far, the best system that we've created. And and like people,
it was an American founding father. It was he said this country's for a moral people line.
Oh shit! It's for a moral religious people.
Yeah, it was that, because that's the whole.
If you want small government, you need to have a moral religious people. Like those two things have to go hand in hand, because the moral religious people will self-regulate. They will impose upon themselves non-governmental laws, but God's laws, or whatever their religious tenets are in those cases. And so, case in point, we use MetaShare as our quote unquote insurance. I say quote unquote because it's not technically insurance, but it is a program that is very, very affordable for us as a family, because it would cost me $1,500 a month out of my check to have Blue Cross Blue Shield. With them, I pay $1,000, but there's some trade-offs, and we sign a moral waiver. Like there's, hey, I'm not going to do these certain things, because guess what? That lowers my risk. Like, it's not like these laws are like, oh, it restricts my freedom. It's like, no, man, it actually like sets me free. A budget doesn't restrict my spending. It actually gives my spending purpose, and it sets myself, like free in that regard.
What's the thing? True freedom isn't freedom. It's only imprisonment by other means, because you can't really, it's capital in a sense. It's like give and take.
Give and take.
I'm not to get too we're already political, but
we're always everything's political. Like,
so the word
coming from all the game journalists, everything's political.
Capitalism was actually first coined by Marxists.
Right.
No, it was Marx himself.
It was always called the free market until a little. I think it was just before Marx. It was some guy just before him. I think, if I recall correctly. I forget where I read it.
But regardless, from Marx's perspective, like there is it's fair to have a critique of capitalism. Like,
oh yeah.
However, my issue with Marxism is that as it gets into the culture, it is a system that we have shown leads to deaths of millions and millions and millions. So
Marxism on paper is brilliant. Marxism in practice doesn't work.
Right, because it denies our fundamental nature that we are flawed.
Well, in terms of like the utopia that it
right
touts to
and that's the thing, like even when it comes to bring this
it's something that's cool, but like at the same time the only way to do that is through authoritarian means.
Yeah, I don't think people realize, because again, the sort of the theological aspect is missing. It's like utopia was only achievable when God was in charge, telling man, everybody what to do, what you can do, what you can't do. And it's like, very strict rules.
Like, people complain about capitalism, especially in the U.S., right? That's like the popular thing, right? Is
that's
the issue is that what they're actually complaining about is socialist overreach of the government.
Yeah, because
that's really what they're complaining about.
Because it's capitalism for us, and all these big companies are getting the social bailouts where they're like getting all these fat checks, and it's like.
So the weird thing is, though, is like I hear a lot of American politicians go, "Look at Europe, look at Europe." I'm like, yeah, but we're stricter on all of these other things that you are not. And it's like, what was it?
Also, too, Europe is completely different from the U.S., right? Because
it's completely different tradition.
Well, not even that. What the U.S. is able to do legally, in contrast to what Europe is able to do. Let's say Italy or whatever, right? There are strict limitations as to what the government is allowed to do. And even what they have done in the past 200 some odd years, a lot of it is illegal, like should not have existed. I'm not even talking about like the
it goes against your constitution.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
UK does not have a constitution.
Right.
Yeah. Well, their constitution is the Magna Carta, I think.
No. That's been gotten rid of hundreds of years ago.
Well, that's fun. So yeah, without a constitution, it's like, oh, we have free speech. No, you don't.
Well, we see that happen in Europe, where that guy made a joke about his dog being a Nazi, and then he went to jail.
So that is, he didn't go to jail. Yeah. He didn't go to jail, but he was fined.
He was fined.
So it's Marcus Meekin. He is a fellow Scot. The Scottish government is horrible in almost every way. Just like I would accept the more authoritarian things if they were actually good at their job, like a country like Singapore. Yeah. You know, it's like authority is very easy to swallow when you live in a paradigm. You know, and it's just authority is not easy to swallow when you live in Scotland. And it just doesn't fit the culture of the people either. Scots are not exactly pro-authority in many ways, you know, just historically or culturally. Right. And even though every single Scot is a mini tyrant in themselves, you know, it's like my way or the highway. But yeah, his life was destroyed. The police made an illegal attempt, so they basically invited the media to his house so they could watch him be arrested. In the UK, that's illegal.
Right.
You can't do that. So anytime in the UK there's a court case or anything, there's a gag order. And in America, that means the jury can't see the news or anything. In the UK, that means nobody's allowed to report on it.
Okay.
So it's completely silent. So it's not even in the media to begin with. But his court case in the UK kept getting pushed back and pushed back, pushed back. And there is a statute of limitations on that. It can only happen for so long. And the Crown Prosecution Service came in and tried to get him 5 years in jail. Which was insane.
That's what I was like. I heard that they're trying to put him in jail, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah. And the judge said, we determine the context of your jokes, not the other way around. And that's insane, because context is king. You can't decide what someone else meant. You know, especially at the time when he was trying to piss off his girlfriend, and it was in the video. But he ended up getting £800 fine. But the thing is, there's something like 2,500 people every year getting arrested for this because of I think it's a gross offence act. And now I think it's Jimmy Carr.
More people. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's like more people in the UK get arrested for jokes than in Russia.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. More people get. Yeah.
for speech violations, and it's just like,
but it's like,
wild.
In the UK, there's a tradition of a free speech corner. I'm like, a corner? This is we're like in primary school where you have the friendship corner, and you go over there and you can speak your mind. You know, it's and the thing is about a lot of British
that's why freedom of speech is such a imperative right, because freedom of speech only comes into play when it's speech you don't like.
Yeah.
And we're seeing that like abuse, because right now, like it is like you see the like cancellation, you know, culture, you know, kind of with the focus. And now they're doing this thing called quiet cancellation, which is, you know, more interesting because they were like, when you see about it, like you try to cancel a comedian and you just made that comedian the biggest comedian in the world, you know? So it's like, oh wait, this is having blowback. So there it's like, now it's like, oh, I'm not gonna go and try and, you know, get somebody we're just gonna all like, you know, like not support and cut ties and things like that. And from a content creator perspective, I see this happen a lot where it's like access is money. Like a company doesn't need to hand a content creator a check. They just need to hand them access, because that access is going to turn into money because they can use that content and they can go first, because being first is sadly the only thing that truly matters. It's not being the most, you know, truthful. It's not being the most like knowledgeable. It's who had the information first. And that's just like, that's where you see this race. That's why you'll see like even newspapers put up their articles that aren't even written, and it's like to do, we're gonna compile this, and here's the page that, you know, it's gonna exist on, so we can have that, you know, that search, that SEO.
Well, you know, the Betty White special, right? Like they made her hitting 100 years old before she died.
Yeah, before she hit 100.
Yeah, before she hit 100, and it's just like, that's a bit premature.
Yeah.
So the funny thing, what creeps me out with the stuff was seeing all the, you know, the YouTube videos of all the news presenters saying the exact same thing, the exact same time in slightly different ways. And I was like, that's
one
pretty
there's one where they say, actually there's a few, I think, where they say the exact same thing, like
and I'm just like,
ways, just the exact same thing.
It's the same script.
But to be fair, they all have the same parent company.
Yeah.
Is that why they all just get the telephone?
Well, that's where you see a lot. Like you can start to see various different patterns, and it's like, really, you just follow the incentives, follow the money. Like, you know, like it is the rules of investigation are as simple as they've always been. What's the incentive behind, you know, somebody's words and actions? And it's like, you figure that out, and then you can figure out who owns them.
Yeah,
you know,
it's really weird. It's like with this, I'm not sure I think you've seen it, Brian. It's the Sweet Baby stuff. It's like the culture stuff is finally just hit this year, and it's been going on for about like 10 years. I don't think anybody in 2014 thought it's finally going to come to the forefront in 2024.
Well, it's essentially like, because it's a slow rolling process, and then it's basically kind of then a rejection of that, where it's like initially the idea is like, well, we want to be compassionate, we want to have, you know, like we want, like, okay, like I'm perfectly fine. Like I'm weird because I'm not ever bothered by anything. Hold on 1 second, Cameron. But it's that on the, no, you're fine. I was just like, but on the, like the Sweet Baby Inc. stuff, it's like that's a perfectly fine thing for people to do. Like consultant firms, they have like, I could create a Catholic consulting firm to insert Catholicism into video games and talk about how like Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. I don't think that's
not consulting. They're blackmailing people.
Well, they are. That's where like it start like the mindset that they're starting off with. It's like, okay, you know, and I don't know if that was their intention from the start, but the tools that has been developed over the last years in terms of internet culture, you have these companies coming in, basically, you know, and people use the term woke. I don't like the term woke. It's cultural Marxism at its core. They use their powers, and they basically, you know, like facilitate like, hey, you need to do this, you need to, you know, we're going to dictate to you, or we're going to expose you, and then everything's going to turn around on you, and you're done. You're not going to be able to be in business. And so it's that kind of leverage that has been going on, and the whole thing in and of itself is hilarious in my mind. It's pure entertainment, because it's what people have been saying for a long time. And now it's like, well, there is a boogeyman. That's what they are. And then the boogeyman goes out and becomes even more sinister. And then I'm just loving all the people coming out and like, oh, it's fine, guys. Like, you know, like, oh, you don't really like the anti-woke crew hates this, you know, company. It's like, yeah, there's other consultant firms that are doing what they do, but this is just the free market responding to just information. Like, yes,
I never
why
saw
keep it
woke
secret?
as being Marxist. I always saw it as just East Coast upper class American culture.
Yeah,
in a sense of, you know, these people are more privileged in their life there, so they have less risk. You know, they don't have to put up with the problems of the average everyday person.
There was known as champagne socialists, right?
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's probably a better term, you know.
I like that
and
term.
to get into these...
Wokeism is literally just Marxism, except instead of class, it's race and...
Yeah, and that ideology will abandon whatever group it needs that is a part of their coalition as soon as they don't need them anymore, too. So it's like
all you need is a black person on Twitter to go against them, and then they spew all
racist
these
hatred against them, right? Because they're not the moral authority. They're actually the ones that I see practicing the most bigoted and hateful responses all over the world. Like it's right, and it's like, and people are afraid of like, oh, don't label me a bigot. Yeah. It's like, you know what? Don't be afraid of people labeling you a bigot. Don't be a bigot. And if somebody calls you that, just laugh in their face because like what? Okay, like, well, whatever, man.
The word lost its meaning a long time ago.
Well, a lot of words, lose meanings, but a lot of words also have a double meaning. And that's why you don't see this cultural Marxism taking root in non-English speaking languages, because it's about that bait and switch double meaning. Like, yes, compassion is good, but it's actually not about compassion. It's about thought control and power. That's the shift that they're pushing for.
It's weird, right? It's a rejection. It's weird because I've noticed the specific thing. It's like there's a place in the market for it, but the thing is, it's all centered around specific areas. Like it's California, it's New York. But the thing is, that's where all the development studios are. You're not getting development studios from all over the world.
And then where are the media studios that report on those? They're all in the same exact spot. And so and that's why you saw them have such a visceral reaction to Twitter, because Twitter was hyper left, and now it's more, I would say, centrist in that regard. So I feel like it's safer to have conversations on Twitter. Before, like, I was like, I'm just not going to touch this conversation because I don't want to deal with the backlash.
But I'm sat here thinking, the localization team on these companies, how do you expect the Californian social culture to do well in other countries that have completely antithetical values to what you're trying to promote? And it's fine to promote that in your own backyard, but it's not going to do well in Asia. It's not going to do well in Europe.
Right.
They're far more conservative religiously, because it's just baked into our culture on very specific issues.
Right.
And it's just like, when you're promoting that, it just comes off as, and this is, I think, why the stereotype of Americans has gone downhill in Europe over the past 20 years. It's just like,
the problem though is I think that culture is also more hyper online and chronically online than anything else, because like I go and I've got friends of all political spectrums and identity spectrums and more, and it's like, we all are just friends, and like, okay, we might not agree on one thing or two things, but it's not war. Online it's like, if you don't adhere to my dogma, we're going to war. And that's where it's like, all right, that's where it becomes, that's why I like the word dogma.
The issue that America does is that they export culture. That's their main export. The issue is that they export the coasts, which are completely different from the rest of the country.
Right.
So people see like this high crime, all these shootings and stuff, and, you know, all these like woke people. And it's just like,
that video of the girl recently, wasn't there, of like she was center, heartland American girl going out and building on a house.
Yeah, they're called the flyover states.
Well, but also that people trying to shame, I think her name's Hannah or something like that, where they're trying to like, oh, this isn't a girl. This is, this is a, like, I'm like, what are y'all talking about? Like, I don't know her, but every little video that people were sharing, I'm like, you all trying to like dunk on this girl. Like, she is incredible. Like, that's like, if my daughter turns into her, like, hell let's go.
She's
like,
building our house. she's catching fish. She's doing, I'm like,
happy. And she's not sitting here miserable. Like, that's the thing. There's a lot of people that are like, oh, I'm supposed to go do this. Why am I constantly miserable? Stop listening to other people tell you how to live your life and figure out what you want and be comfortable and confident in your skin. And how can, like, work on that? Because if you are subject to the whims of what people think about you, you're gonna just have, you're gonna have lots of problems. Like, because my wife wishes that I was affected slightly more about people's opinion of me, but I'm like, I just don't care. Now, I don't have time. Yeah, I don't have time to care. Like, it's like, that's a luxury of people who have time. I don't have that. So I just move on with my life. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I listen, and it's like, I'm not, like, I'm generally, especially even in the real world, like, I'm a pretty likable person. However, like, I just don't care what you think about me. If you're like, oh, Brian's great or Brian sucks, it's like both of those. I'm like, okay, like, I'm going to still continue to be me, moving in a direction. And if that causes us friction, like, I'm sorry. I'm okay though. Like,
it's weird because the vast majority of people I've seen don't have friction with. It's pretty,
well, it's echo chamber. Like, they just, like, if anything that affirms whatever, and then any idea that's opposed to that, we gotta push out. That's bad thought,
I noticed something though about the word echo chamber, right? People who actually are in echo chambers don't think they're in echo chambers and claim other people are in echo chambers.
Yeah, it's projection.
I've noticed that.
Mm-hmm.
It's always projection.
That's weird.
Yeah.
It's like self-awareness much.
Right. Midnight Tangent writes, can't represent an entire world equally. We don't get along politically. Can we get together online openly? And I think when you remove the incentive of attention and and attention equals money in the online space, like, with that model, it makes those real conversations between real people difficult. And so it ends up becoming, like, what is the hottest take that I can have that is, like, the most politically charged and hateful, or the most overwhelmingly joyful. So it's bad news and extreme happy, right? That's where I end up going viral, is on those extreme happy, like, oh my gosh, this is finally happening, because, like, people like that, right? And algorithms love those things, but those aspects make it really hard. But that's where Midnight, like, what I do is I bring people into voice chat, and obviously the majority of us here probably right now are all in agreement with some of the cultural issues that are happening, but that isn't to stop anybody who disagreed to come in and have a respectful discussion, like, because that's what's important. And I think voice chat helps out way more than like text or any kind of written, because you lose tone, and that's where things can come off sounding like they're this person's heartless, when it's like, no, I was just taking a crap and I responded on my phone, and then I was like, I've got other things that I'm doing. I'm not 100% invested in any one conversation. Whenever I'm on Twitter, I'm not invested in that one tweet like I would be like if we were hanging out in a bar. Like, it's literally like, here's a passing thought, or here's a quick response. And that's where a lot of the online drama kicks up.
It's because you just don't see people as humans. You see them as NPCs, in fact.
Well, that's the problem with pornography too. It's like pornography. The problem with pornography is that it doesn't show enough of the person. It dehumanizes them. It turns them into an object, and social media can have the same kind of impact.
It's convenience. It's the worst part of convenience.
I think the issue with pornography too is that, like, it shows the physical side of quote unquote romance, as opposed to what should happen. They basically show the act without all of the meaningful build up to the act. It becomes commoditized. Right. Yeah.
I guess it's because some of us have more of a religious background. Like, when I was I have very New Zealand friends, and some of them are the more trick. They just want to matchmake you all the time, the parents, and you're just like, no, thank you.
I don't know, man. Like as
that.
we see all these kids not getting married and not having families,
Yeah,
like I'm like,
sometimes it's just
I don't
like,
know, man. Maybe
yeah.
we're gonna end up bringing back matchmaking, and you know, like
yeah.
guys, let's lock these kids down today. Send me some goats.
Great grandparents on my mom's father's side were match made.
Yeah.
You know, and that turned out pretty well.
Yeah.
Oh, it was very hard.
They stayed together till they died. So
my gran was a Catholic and my grandfather was a Protestant, so it was very unpopular
okay.
at the time because she was Irish, she was Scottish, so it was very unpopular.
Yeah.
And it was just like she was kind of like the beauty in a sense of the town. Like not a lot of people,
Right.
but it's like he was younger actually, and he ended up going up to her, and I think she was impressed by that. But it's just like they ended up having 7 kids.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, it's like her mother had 14,
Offset the
and
replacement.
it's like my
Yeah,
mom has 1.
if we were able to have kids, because me and my wife weren't able to for a long time, but like if we were able to, like honestly, I'd probably have more than 6, you know. And I think one of the things that does make me go like, oh, maybe I'm done, is just the fact that I'm 40. You know, it's
I
like
would like 4, but
yeah, 4's a good number.
I think if I could afford more, I would.
Most people say that. Like a lot of the people that I talk to that are like, how do you have 6 kids? It's like, dude, people drop stuff off at my door all the time, and I don't know why. It's like I don't think we buy clothes for the kids. Like I also tell my wife, I was like, God will provide. You know, like I'm not worried. Like when 2008 hit, I got laid off, and my dad was like freaking out, and I've always, I don't know why, but I've always just been like, God will provide. He'll tell me he needs me to go somewhere else, and I'm just gonna listen to see what that is. I don't know, so I'm gonna just
stoic of you.
What's up?
How very stoic. You're living in accordance with nature.
Yeah, it's like, okay, this is what it is, you know. And so it's like, you know, and I mean at the time too, I was like, because I wasn't married, I was like, I got roommates. They pretty much pay the mortgage, you know, and it's like I got some money, and I got a severance, and so I was like, all right, and then what do I do? And so I just picked up some new coursework books, you know, brushed up on some of the new technology, and got a job that paid way more than the job that I lost like a month later. Like, and I'm like, okay. And not everybody obviously has that story. There's horror stories of people being unemployed for a very, very long time. But
my dad
was unemployed for a year. He was depressed and on the couch. I remember, like, he lost everything. So for those of you who don't know my story, like when I was 16, 17, I, like, growing up, we wanted for nothing, like had a nanny in the summer, and we had a maid, and like, it's like, we were well-to-do. And then when we were 17, 16, lost everything, lost the house, you know, we were like getting evicted. And thankfully my mom found a trailer park that we were able to go move into. And yeah, my dad, he didn't work. My mom then picked up the thing, because she was a stay-at-home mom. And it was funny because it's like, your mom was a stay-at-home mom. It's like, she was a stay-at-home mom and I had a nanny. It's like, come on.
I don't think people
it was crazy.
realize how much skill it takes to be a stay-at-home mother.
Oh, it's insane.
Yeah.
It's impossible. It's an impossible job. And that's where it's like, I tell Julia, it's like, I want that, because it's like this, I want this for us. We're here with the kids. At some point, the kids aren't going to want to be around us. And I get that, right? Like, it was the same thing when I was a teenager. I was like, I want to go hang out with my friends and do all these other things. And it's like, at that point, like, if you want to go work or whatever, then okay. But if you don't, even at that point, like, let's just enjoy life. It's like, like, what's that extra stress going to actually give us? And we ran the numbers, and I'm sure there are careers that, that exist out there that the numbers don't change. But right now, the numbers as they exist would have her working for negative $5 an hour. So it's like, well, like, I don't want to throw $5 of an hour. Like, what's your time worth? And then it's like, when we factor in all the things, it's like, no, she's not unfortunately making money, because we're going to have to spend all this money in daycare and stuff like that. But
it's
crazy.
so expensive.
Years ago, was the Animal Planet did a thing on like greatest moms in the animal kingdom. And they did during the part of the program. It was called Top. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah.
And they calculated that the average mother at the time, this is like 15, 20 years ago, right, was like $500,000 a year if she was to make basically a bunch of jobs that a mom has to do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
See, that's the thing.
Like,
that's the thing I would change, Amron, is the one, like, if they're like, when we talk about policy changes, like, I'm definitely for policies that are like, that incentivize and, you know, help, you know, family, you know, in that regards, because that is ensuring a future for people. Because if you don't have kids, guess what? There's not really like, that doesn't continue.
That demographic.
Well, China is, but also you got to like back to the Sweet Baby Inc. discussion. Is like the people who generally fall in line with that thought, you know, that mindset, don't actually have children. So that mindset is going to die. Like physically in 20 years, it will, like, especially the generation that comes up behind them, it will be very interesting to see. Well, they have to. That's why you, right. That's why if you keep the kids away from it, then it's like when they become adults, then it's like, wait a minute, no, I think I'm okay.
The problem, like, it's so annoying because the amount of societal institutions in terms of culture, which are like, you know, the big IPs, you know, even like Lord of the Rings, are all rotten now. It's like, and it's not because they're bad, it's because it's gone. Like, nobody's gonna invest in it anymore. Nobody's like, Dune 2 was probably the best movie I've seen in a long time.
I heard really good things about it.
Destroy everything.
Oh, it's really good.
It's a morale destroyer, right? They're trying to take everything we love and then destroy it so that we feel hopeless. And what they're not understanding is that in their place are growing new things that are will slowly replace them.
That's why I love Helldiver too. It's just so antithetical to it all.
Yeah, like Star Wars,
It's
my favorite IP of all time. Dead Brand. Like, it doesn't have nearly the staying power that it used to have.
Yeah, they didn't care for it. You know, they didn't.
Shad Brooks, which he's trying to make something of it. He's trying to. It's called
his book.
Right, he's trying to do something else. Maybe that'll turn into a new Star Wars. Who knows? I don't know.
There's Razor Fist as well with his.
I have his second night. His second night.
Is it any good?
The first one is actually really good. It's better than Shad's book. I couldn't get through Shad.
Don't tell Shad.
I got halfway through his novel and I was like, this narrator is insufferable.
There's one point I want to make, because I do need to like wrap up. But this has been a fun conversation. I always like that, how live streams end up going. But the one point I want to make is like, if we classified what my wife did and added that to the GDP, like, that would be, I think, a really good family policy, because in order for my wife to add to the GDP of the country, is I would have to have her go work and we hire somebody to do the jobs that she does. And then here's that cost, right? So the fact that she stays at home, like, she's not a part of the system, but she is a part of the system. You know, and it's just like, and that's the reality of it, you know. But
aren't mothers 80% of the economy? They made most of the choices in terms of
finance. my wife is the CFO of this house, like, you know. And it's like, we're sitting, like, we sit down and we do the budget, and it's like, what do you want to spend money on? All right, you know, like, go for it. You know, and it's like, I go to my wife and ask, hey, is there a way we can, you know, fit this in the budget this month? You know, because I always tell people, I tell her, like, this is an important thing, you know, about our marriages. Like, I don't make money. We make money. Like, while I am the breadwinner, quote unquote, we make money. It is not my money that comes in. It is our money. And you empower me to go and do that work, you know, because I had to work. I had to work this weekend, and it was like, okay, you know, and I was like, guess what, Julie? That means Julie had to work and do other things this weekend too. So, but on that note, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. This was fun. It was fun getting back into some Destiny, and this won't be the last time we play it. But I'm looking forward to Dragon's Dogma 2 this month, and I'm looking forward to doing a couple more things. We'll see what happens this week. I do want to get some Helldivers back in rotation, because I've been so swamped I was like, I've had people message me, hey, do you want to play? Hey, do you want to play? And I'm like, oh man, maybe. I was gonna try to do something on Sunday, and it didn't work out. But all right, guys, I'm gonna end the stream, and hopefully you guys all enjoy whatever you do next, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next thing. Bye.